And welcome to our analysis of patch 7.07 Dueling Fates. I'm going to go ahead and roll the intro now. Every day on the Dota subreddit there's some thread about dead game, PUBG's bigger than us, CSGO's bigger than us.
No, I'm not sponsored by Dota, by the way, obviously. I don't have any sponsor. I'm not a big... this video is going to get like 400 views. I definitely do not have any sponsors, unless Carbon Bond counts as a sponsor, Caparino.
So that's not that big of a surprise. What is really surprising to me is that Crit is still on the team.
He obviously did something. I'm just saying that I carried him. Is that not a truthful statement? But let's break this down. Do you not think that I carried that game? I'm just wondering.
Sure, you carried the fucking game.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pub Trash. With your hosts, Esports Monies and Wired Guitars.
Okay, and we're back. I actually muted my audio, so if you said anything during the intro, I couldn't hear you.
No, I did too.
Cool. Just so I could get the intro out. I love that intro.
Yeah.
We're dank memes here. Actually going to tweet that the show has started. I got one person actually tweeted me today. Thank God for this patch. Your YouTube channel is dead, you cancerous motherfucker.
What? Somebody tweeted that to you?
Let me see what he said. Dead channel, no more awful jungle guides, thanks the Lord. In all capital letters. He also, he made a comment on my video about, Solo that was just like, your channel is just the most cancerous thing in the universe. And I'm like, what does this have to do with this? Like, you picked the only video where this is an inappropriate comment.
Yeah. He seems like a really fun guy to go to parties with.
That guy is like actual cancer, but whatever the fuck. Welcome to the show, guys. Today we're going to be going over the patch. We're going to go over it in some detail. We're going to gloss over a few things, like the more minute detail, like the more boring shit, but when they said that the patch was going to be as big as 7.0, they weren't lying. The patch...
And you thought they...
I thought they were full of shit. I thought they were full of shit up until I saw the patch notes.
Yeah.
And technically it isn't as big as that patch, but it is... I did Jungle Sniper very recently, and that guide still works, but I'll make a new one. Sorry, I'm just talking to the chat. But so the way they got around adding enough content to make it as big and changing enough things around to make it as big as 7.00 is adding new stats, stats resist. Yeah. I don't know how much you've got to look at the patch notes already.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Hype for it. Yeah. So
I'm gonna start at the top. The two new heroes. We have the Pangolier, I think is actually how it's pronounced, which is not how I pronounce it in my video. And somebody corrected me. He has every tag. Are you on the patch notes page?
Yeah. I'm on that too. It's kind of similar with the other hero, right? They have a lot of tags for some reason. I don't know how true that actually will be in game, but
other hero has
apparently
the other hero has 5. This guy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
He's just missing the jungler tag.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a jungling guide out for this motherfucker.
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
Within the next 2 days.
I can't wait, dude.
Everyone else can. Man, oh fuck! I wonder if Dota Turbo is gonna kill my jungling guides, because I feel like if you're jungling a lot of these carries, you're kind of casual, and we'll get to that. So, what do you think of this guy?
Firstly, I think you pronounced him incorrectly again. I think his name's Pangolier, but I could be wrong.
Pangolier?
If it's not, Pangolier.
Pangolier.
Have you ever seen the Stephen King movie Langoliers? I don't know if you've ever seen that or anything like that. That's immediately what my mind thinks of when I'm trying to formulate a pronunciation for his name. But I don't know.
I think I know he's got some French shit going on, because his official name is Dante with an accent mark on the E.
Oh.
That's his
cool.
Lore name. I don't know where you're supposed to fucking find that. I was on the wiki.
Yeah. I'm pretty impressed that they're still going with those with that theme, I guess, of when they make a new hero, because that was the way it was in obviously Dota 1 was you'd have Spectre, but her real name is Mercurial. You'd have Zeus, but is the thunder god or whatever. You'd have Lycan, but his real name is Banehowl. Yeah. So
I know that one. Wukong is Sun Wukong, the Monkey King.
Yeah. And I mean, just in general, they you know, they have the two name thing for like every hero that I can think of, anyways.
Yeah, there's very few Enigma. The Enigma is probably the only one that I can think of. Carl.
I think he's even Carl Invoker. Kale. His name's Kale. Yeah. What's his name? Fucking what is it? Oh man. Like Terrorblade is what is he? Or Kale. Oh my god. Yeah. It's gonna. What's his name?
Soul Stealer or whatever.
Fucking what is it? Oh. Like either their name is their actual name, like the hero's actual name,
or it's just like a title.
Or it's their title. Yeah, exactly. Leoric, right?
Terrorblade, the Demon Marauder.
Oh. He used to be like Soul Stealer, but I think that was just back when he had.
Terrorblade.
Yeah.
That's my given name, but you can also call me the Demon Marauder.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's just dumb pronunciation. So I was just being semantical and asshole-ish. I think this hero, just from looking at his abilities, not from like actually inferring anything about, like I haven't played him, right? So I'm just inferring the information that I have here is just looking at the abilities in the video that you did on him that kind of showcased a little bit of him.
Mm-hmm.
His kit seems pretty cute. I'll say I really like Swashbuckle. That's a very unique ability to Dota.
It's really cool, right?
Yeah, it is. And I think what you said about turning around like that, if it works like that, where it's an instant, like it just instantly jolts you around,
it is.
That's pretty unique. That's pretty unique, and I think that affects the game in more ways than one. Like, you know, Batrider suddenly has to worry about this guy kind of skirting around, and he can't really kill him as easily.
Dude,
also, like,
we had someone just donated $2 to the show on stream. Thank you, Morden.
Pugshin.
You're the fucking man.
I'll be taking one of those. No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, if we actually had like, if we made like $50 or something, like a month off this or more, I would actually be like, yeah, we're splitting the revenue off the show.
No.
Like, if we start getting actual donations, I'm going to send you like close to 50% of the revenue.
It's your money, dude. You're making the show here. Like you put all the work in the photo. This is like behind the scenes stuff. We probably shouldn't talk about it too much, but yeah, that's pretty cool that guy donated to you. I guess by proxy, I should have thanked him as well. That's pretty cool that you support the show in that way. But yeah, I guess back to Pangolier, the Langolier. I think his ulti is really underwhelming. I think they'll do something to it. It seems like a Monkey King tier setup. Like Monkey King takes like 3 seconds to cast his ulti, but it doesn't have that Monkey King tier payoff where it's like, okay, like for 10 seconds the enemy team can't walk into this, otherwise they just die.
For Swashbuckle?
For Rolling Thunder, his ultimate. Like, you just kind of roll around. Can you hit multiple targets multiple times?
Can
you just sit there and can you just bat him around?
So
like roll into him.
Because I tried to do it and I couldn't do it with creeps, but it might have been because I hit it too close to the end. Curls do imagine it being ball while rolling. I don't think he can, which is probably why they added the knockback, because the knockback would technically make it worse if you could do multiple instances. If he does, it has a cooldown. Just run Guardian Greaves on him, and when he does roll hit, he's actually a support. Holy fuck, that's pretty cool. One thing... Oh, he can actually... He can come out of that mode anytime he wants to, which is really cool. Well, that's the biggest complaint I have about the hero is and let's be real, like I'm pretty sure Lycan isn't even flagged as a jungler, or like when Lycan was when I was the only human in the world that jungled Lycan, I'm pretty sure he was still flagged as a jungler. Like these flags are so horribly inaccurate. Yeah. But he's got two stars, which means easiest, right?
He's got one.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant. But he's got 1 star, which means that's the easiest. Like out of a 1 to 3, or is that the hardest?
I don't. No, you're right. That's in terms of how Valve rates complexity. That makes him technically an easy hero. But I don't know how hard not hard. I don't know how well I trust the complexity thing. They have Broodmother listed as 2, and I think she's a little bit harder than 2. I'd say she's 3.
I think she's a 3. I think Lycan's a 2.
I was gonna say, yeah, they have Lycan sit there as 1 too. I don't know though.
Lycan's a 1?
Isn't he? Or
I mean, I have no idea. The thing is, no one cares about these. I just think it's interesting that they flag him as 1, and every single patch, Valve is doing more and more shit to bring in new players because they recognize that keeping new blood in this game is how we keep it alive. Because we're an old ass group. We're a huge group of gamers, but most of us are old as shit. But they gave 2 stars to Dark Willow, and Dark Willow, like the ultimate of Pangolier is actually pretty complex because of the fact that his turn rate is basically gone when he goes into ball form. Like he no longer his turn rate is the worst in the game, and you have to keep rolling. So there's actually some really complicated maneuvering things that you have to know and be familiar with to effectively use his ult. But Dark Willow is literally press D and then just try to be near an opponent. Like that's her whole deal.
Yeah. Oliver. Okay, so finishing up about Pangolier, I will say I don't even know if his ulti is going to be worth casting. Like, it's very likely that Valve will find a way. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? If the ability is underpowered, Valve will be very, very closely looking at Hero to try to make it so that his kit works and blends well together. But I'm just saying, for this first few patches, or for the first few iterations of 7.07, while they're trying to test things out, I think we'll find that Rolling Thunder is not that impressive of an ability, and what people will focus more on if they play this hero, and obviously if he's OP as shit, is the carry potential between Swashbuckle and Heart Piercer, and obviously using Shield Crash to sustain in fights. People probably won't mess around with Rolling Thunder that much unless you're able to TP during it, in which case you pop it, you TP, you're rolling, so it's hard for people to catch up to you, and you get a free CC free trip back to base.
That's pretty cool.
What I was wondering about it was how does
Duel, cool too.
For sure. How does Duel interact with this ability? Because sure, he's magic immune, but that doesn't mean he's dual immune. Because Duel goes through magic immunity. How does this work with basically crowd control that CCs through?
We'd have to know the damage instance. So if it's like a 1 damage instance, and so you get hit, you're knocked back 150 and you're stunned for 1.5 seconds. I don't know the knockback duration if that adds to it, but that would
what I meant was does he get crowd controlled by, say, for instance, Duel if LC casts Duel, or is the range on it pretty much like if LC is immune,
so he can't be dueled.
No, you can't. No, you can be dueled if you're magic immune. You can't be dueled if you Lincolns pop it or whatever. But you just pop the Lincolns or some shit. Lasso as well. Lasso's a great example.
Yeah, Lasso's a great example.
If he.
What if you lassoed him in ulti, he pulled you? That'd be fucking awesome. If you lassoed him in ulti, he just kept rolling and pulled you.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny, but I don't think that's the way it's gonna work.
That's not how it's gonna work.
Yeah. In a similar vein, it could be a very bad thing to lasso him while he's rolling, because then you roll him and you drag him back into your team, and then he just bashes your whole team. I don't know. So
we're gonna see some funny interactions with this ability.
I have no doubt, but one thing is for sure, or at least one thing is for sure in my mind. I'm not saying this is the case. I don't personally think this ability is that overwhelming. I checked out the damage numbers. The stun, again, if the stun is if you can hit targets more than once, if it's not like League of Legends where if you hit somebody once with your Wukongs, in that game they have a similar ability on a hero that spins around and he knocks people up in the air, but you can only do it once. If this guy can continuously knock you, then I can see some niche cases where this ability is very powerful. Other than that, I don't think Rolling Thunder's the end-all be-all of his kit. I think it's actually really just Swashbuckle for being a very powerful ability. Heart Piercer, if it procs, it's amazing.
I think proc rate is shit. I think they need to double the proc rate and cut the movement speed slow down a tone.
Well, with Swashbuckle, so it's not like PA.
Yeah, with the Swashbuckle.
Yeah, with Swashbuckle, you have 4 potential opportunities to proc it, and I mean, it's in a very quick succession. It's not like it's not like he has to blur onto you, or it's not like he has to use his W. What's his W called? Or PA's W? It's like Phantom Strike. He doesn't have to Phantom Strike onto you and hit you. Yeah, he just pushes his Q, gets a free trip there, and then just boom, 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 and then he gets 4 chances to proc Heartstopper. It's pretty, or Heart Piercer. It's pretty guaranteed, I'd say. So I don't know if the proc chance, I mean, it is low, don't get me wrong, I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm just saying it works well with his kit for being so low. It's a very powerful ability that can be balanced around a low proc rate because of the way that the rest of his kit works. I'm not too concerned for the power level of that ability. If anything, I think it might get nerfed a little bit.
My copy of Dota is running over the stream now, and I don't know why. Hold on a second.
Some weird shit. But yeah, that's my main thoughts, or I guess my initial thoughts regarding this hero. I'm not saying that he's weak, I'm just saying I feel like his ultimate is a little bit underwhelming, and that if he is a very powerful hero, it'll very likely be because of his Swashbuckle and his Heart Piercer.
We haven't gotten to Bridge yet in Doral. We're gonna get there. We're gonna... Yeah. Sorry, I forgot I had a copy of Dota running in the background, so I was gonna actually pick Pangolier and see how his Swashbuckle interacts with creeps. I feel like this is a hero where... I'm still in Dota Turbo. I think Dota Turbo we'll get to Dota Turbo. Next talking point, Dark Willow. I'm kind of confused about the mechanics of Shadow Realm. So she becomes untargetable, but I'm pretty sure she still takes AoE, so it's like Slark's ulti.
Yeah, like what I was concerned for is Shadow Realming and TPing, which would be really broken if she could just get a free TP out every single time with Shadow Realm. But I do think that you're right, where she can still be hit by crowd control.
CD's pretty damn long.
It's like 12 seconds at max rank, right? Or
yeah, but
I'm just saying,
the first
if you just
rank
save
is really low, and her health is also really low.
I'm just talking about scaling into the mid to late game. Like this might, I mean, it also could be the case that like Shadow Realm doesn't seem like a bad ability to max either. Like if I was checking the damage values and like it's pretty crazy.
It's
so
like you max it or you don't do anything with it. I think.
Yeah, all I'm really trying to say is that like if she can just save that every single time she needs to be able to see TP out, like that'll probably be broken, and I could see them like changing that or reverting that in some way to make it not work like that. But Bramble Maze is an interesting ability that I think overall seems pretty weak. I don't know. There's obviously synergistic way, like there's ways that this synergizes with certain team compositions, but within her own
ult.
Yeah, but the ult is finicky, and you said as much in your video. Like it's so hard to land that thing. It's got a projectile. She has a
she has two ults. She has two ults.
Wait, are Bedlam and Terrorize considered both her ulties?
Yes.
Is that? Oh,
and
I didn't realize those were
separate
two
abilities with two separate cooldowns, and Bedlam is a short cooldown ability. Like Bedlam. The ult I was talking about is Bedlam. Like the other one, the one that you actually throw a projectile for is the worst of the two abilities. That's just an AoE fear. Like I feel like this hero is going to get nerfed a la Earth Spirit, where they switch the one that does damage and switch the one that does the fear. Because Bedlam, like, if someone is within that AoE from my video that follows her, it's a big ass AoE. It's like 300. It's 300, which is a pretty damn big AoE. When they're in that, they take at level 3 at max out ulti, they take 225 damage per instance, and they get an instance every quarter of a second. That is totaling, we're at 3,400 magic damage. If you can stay within 300 units of someone for 4 seconds, you're doing 3,500 magic damage to them at level 18. And that's without any bonuses from Spell Amp or Int. And when we get to items, you'll see everyone's going to have Spell Amp. Everyone in the fucking game is going to have Spell Amp.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now in the demonstration, and I saw as much in your video about like buying Blink Dagger. I would not be surprised if that's a good item on her for reasons that precede just this, but definitely this would be a reason. I don't know. You also raised a good point. This hero is basically an overglorified range creep if you do have a BKB, which is important to note because
but otherwise, like, it's the only way she's balanced. Like she does so much damage that, I mean, her damage output is absolutely absurd. It's the most absurd I've ever seen.
So let's talk about just very briefly how if you are a hero that relies very heavily on the enemy not having a BKB. You have to ask yourself, like, is there anything I can do to make it so that even if they have a BKB, I can still be effective? And a lot of heroes can say yes to that, right? And that's because they have instant stuns, mostly. It's like Earth Spirit can blink stun you, and he can still get his combo off before you pop your BKB because you're stunned. She can't really do that because her stun is delayed, and it's purgeable, I do believe. Cursed Crown I think it is. Cursed Crown is a great ability, but it's purgeable, which makes it maybe not even a great ability. I don't actually know how to rate it, but I'm pretty damn sure it's purgeable. And like, yeah, sure, it's a very powerful stun that could potentially become AoE, but it has a delay, so you can just purge it. Same thing with like her Terrorize. You know, it does nothing if you're spell immune, and it has a short cast windup, so you'll know when it's coming in, and you can pop your BKB prior to it. Bramble Maze, pretty good ability. Like I said, I think it's a little maybe undertuned, but it doesn't apply a stun. It only applies a root, so you can still BKB and walk into it and shit. Like, she doesn't actually do anything against somebody who pops a BKB.
Yeah.
She has no way of making sure she's still effective. That's the big thing. She can't instantly stun you, so she has to buy like a hex or some shit to do things against BKB targets. And I think that'll be a big contributing factor if they keep it that way to why she might be balanced, even if her values look overpowered as fuck. I agree with you. Bedlam is a very powerful ability. I'm looking at, like I said, I'm looking at this demonstration, and it's absolutely absurd. If you stay in the range and the little, what's it called, Jex, or the little fucking wisp is able to attack you. Like there's some crazy DPS.
Yeah, it is it's insane. You know the cooldown on that is 20 seconds. At level,
and that's
at level 1 it costs 100 mana and does 75 per instance, which ends up being so multiply that times 4, that is 300 times this 1200 magic damage at level 6 on a 20-second cooldown for 100 mana.
And that's supposed to be her ultimate or some shit. I don't know. It's crazy.
It and let me see if there's any talent. There's any talents that yeah, she has a level 20 talent for plus 10% lifesteal, and you can get almost double max damage instead of that talent on Shadow Realm if you want. She's retarded. She's so good. She's like in the early game, in the early and mid game. But it's really interesting. The interesting thing about her is that, like, it's not only about like how to counter her. It's like when you build something to you got to remember when you build something to counter somebody, like that's you're sinking resources into it. So when you build the BKB that just handles everything she's got, if you have another hero that is super vulnerable to BKB, now you have to use, if they're not together, then you have to use the BKB on one of them, and then you won't have it off cooldown for the other hero. Or, and more likely, you have like one hard right-click damage carry, and you build this as a magic damage carry. Yeah, it doesn't care about magic immunity. Sven's just going to come in and kill you anyway. Like, that's the big deal.
Sven might not even be the best example. You could list out heroes that are just incredibly absurd, no matter whether or not you have a BKB. Like, I think PA can still blink strike to you if you have a BKB. I'm not entirely sure, but like PA doesn't give too many fucks if you have a BKB if she's able to. Yeah. These are heroes that like they'll jump on you regardless of whether or not you have magic immunity and do all their damage regardless of whether or not you have magic immunity. So building magic immunity against those heroes just doesn't make any difference.
I think we're gonna see a shitload of Dark Willow LC combos.
Yeah, because she also
dual ulti and they're both pretty low cooldown, and on top of that they also completely counterbalance each other's weaknesses.
Yeah,
like.
I don't understand why this hero is listed as support though. She has a low attack range. I think she's pretty slow. She looks pretty slow, and none of her abilities really stick out to me as like, oh, this is you don't need farm to scale this ability that well. Like, I mean, it's sure her
kind of like she's still the thing is, and I was just thinking about this myself. Like, she does seem like she does a shitload of damage even without items. Like when you add more items to her, you get a lot more efficiency out of what she does, but she doesn't scale that well. Kind of like a Zeus. As long as you have the mana to throw out your shit, the bonus damage is nice, but it's not the winning factor. Like, if you take all of the instances from her Bedlam, it doesn't really matter if you do 20 or 30% more damage because it's gonna fucking kill you anyway.
Yeah. I agree. It just like she doesn't set her own abilities up is what I'm trying. I really just it'll come down to whether or not Bramble Maze is good enough of an ability to combo with the setup. Like I could totally see there being combinations of like
it's incredibly good.
Bedlam Bramble Maze, and then they can't run from you because then they get rooted or some shit like that, and then you Curse Crown them or something. But again, like none of these abilities actually do anything to your opponent if they either play carefully or can purge the abilities off.
If you don't have a BKB, this is the strongest hero in the game, and I really like that idea. I really like Ice Frog making a hero that is so completely incredibly useless against heroes that build pipe or BKB. But if you don't have magic resist, or it's like a hero that's just like completely broken in every sense of the word, but if for some reason but it has this like one weakness, this really obvious weakness that you have to do, and if you don't do that you just lose. But if you do that, then the hero's pretty damn weak. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. I think both of these heroes are pub stompers, especially Dark Willow, though.
Yeah, I think Dark Willow is probably first on the like chopping block of nerfs, though. I do feel like this hero is overtuned.
I think we're going to see the effects of Bedlam and Terror I swapped, because if you use Bramble Maze, like Bramble Maze actually creates a pretty damn tight pattern of brambles, and if you use that where trees are, it didn't destroy trees when I tried it earlier, so... That's another big deal. That's another way they could nerf her, is make it so it destroys trees. Because if you use Bramble Maze and you also have trees blocking, you can't go near it. Because if you go into the Bramble Maze anywhere in that AoE, then you're risking bumping into one of those brambles, and then you're CC'd for 4 seconds and you die. And if she's chasing you with her ulti on, you have to be able to maneuver around those brambles, or you get caught and you die. And she can direct the way you go because she knows which way you're going to go because you're going to try to go away from the brambles. So it's very simple. I think it's very simple. Maybe that's why she's 2 stars. But if you take that in mind, it's really easy to kind of predict where your enemies are going to go and push them around. Either go around your brambles in a way where they have to take more damage walking through you, or they go into the bramble and they get caught and then you just kill them. If you throw it out, they can't go into that area at all, essentially, which means you have a lot of area control, you have a lot of move speed, and anyone near you dies. So I think those 3 things together, she will be retardedly good. I think she's going to be... I think she's a hero that is going to be like tier 1 or tier 2 in the competitive scene in her current state. I don't know if she'd be tier 1, but she'd be damn close to tier 1. But in the pub scene, she's beyond tier 1, which is why she'll get nerfed, I think.
I'd be very surprised to see all of her abilities remain the same mechanically. Yeah, like I could guarantee some of the changes you were suggesting sounded pretty good. I also think Shadow Realm should not be castable while you're bedlaming, because one big element of her W and her D, her first.
I think she should be silenced when she's on bedlam.
No, like you should be able to burst this hero down when she uses bedlam, because that's a very easy way to provide an easy a good weakness to the hero, right?
She's got like 1100 hit points at level 25.
But she doesn't give any fucks if she Shadow Realms, right? So make the hero have the obvious weakness of she can get up into you, or get up close and personal and try to bedlam you, but you could always just turn around and burst the shit out of her. Currently it doesn't feel like that's the case if Shadow Realm works the way that I think it does. And I know that you can cast it while you're bedlam. I'd like to see that change. You
can't terrorize when you use bedlam, right?
Yeah, I know that, but I don't really that. Doesn't matter though, because
it does though. Because if you terrorize, I was thinking I kind of talked to. I think I touched on it in my video, but
in your video is blink daggering after you catch the wisp and terrorizing and bedlamming that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But if you combine that with the zoning from Bramble Patch lasts 15 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
So
it's got cast times and stuff. It's just awkward to set up, is what I'm really trying to say. It's awkward to set that up, to throw out your terrorize, hope that it hits, blink in Bramble Maze, and then use bedlam. That just seems a little awkward.
No, just blink and point blank terrorize them.
I don't know, it still has that cast animation though. Bedlam is just like an instant cast point. You just pop it. It's just instantly. It's like wisp tether or wisps.
I mean, I think it would be cool. I think terrorize is pretty useless, and
I don't think it's useless. I just think it has niche. I don't know why.
I think it sucks compared to everything else about the hero.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's something that if the hero never had that and only had bedlam, I'd be like, wow, this hero is awesome still.
Yeah, but that isn't to say that it's useless though. I think there's definitely uses for it, right? They're just niche, and it's very clear that bedlam is the real ulti, if you want to call it that. Terrorblade has Sunder. Terrorblade has Sunder, and he has Metamorphosis. Which one of those? Yeah. Which one's the ultimate? Yeah, you know what I mean. I just, what's the deal here? Why? I do agree with you. Why the 2 ulti gimmick? It doesn't. She doesn't rely on it. I
like the 2 ulti gimmick, and she, Oracle's a hero that I hate. Because I don't know the numbers now, but I understand all the ways the skills work. But the hero's Oracle is a hero to me that feels like, let's make a motherfucker awkward for no reason. That's the example of a hero. I think this hero makes a lot of coherent sense. But I think that Bedlam and Terrorize are going to be switched, or they'll have to nerf to Bedlam. I don't want them to do anything to this hero for at least a month. I don't want them to do anything to this hero for at least a month, because Bedlam's not that good at level 1.
Whoa.
At level 1, because it only does 1200 magic damage and you have 25% resist, which means you have a maximum of 800 magic damage if you get hit with every single instance. So
that's a fuck ton of magic damage, man.
It is a fuck ton of magic damage, but I feel like we're gonna get to some point in the patch notes where, if you have a cloak on top of that, then suddenly you only take 650 or 700 magic damage, and that's if you get hit with...
still a fuck ton of magic damage.
But that's if you get hit with every single instance, though.
She's just on top of you, yeah. And like I said, like, okay, so we're considering the hero in a vacuum. Imagine if there's even one hero to set her up in any way. Like, boom, all of a sudden it's like there's no issue, right? If you get like a 2-second stun for her to close the gap and throw up Bramble Maze, like, boom, all of a sudden you get, you add any tool whatsoever from any other hero outside or inside, and it's just like, bam, like, suddenly she has the perfect setup for this insane, I don't even want to call it a nuke because it's like sustained magic damage over time. It's crazy. Like, you need to be Lifestealer to really deal with this sort of thing early game. And as a side note, obviously I could see heroes like Lifestealer cropping up as like good counters to her, but even then, I'm a little hesitant to say that because I think Lifestealer eventually will suffer the issue of like he might even need a BKB because she'll just like stay on the outskirts of a fight until push comes to shove.
No, I mean it kind of matters what the rest of the lineup is, and it was kind of goes along with what I was saying earlier about whether or not you have. Because I feel like Dark Willow's a hero that's just going to build... if you're playing carry Dark Willow, you build hit points. And Lifestealer just does not give a fuck if you build hit points. Or you build Magic Resist. Because she's got decent Magic Resist already, because Int now grants Magic Resist. But armor doesn't make a lot of sense, and she's probably going to be build hit points. So Lifestealer doesn't care about that, which makes her a little bit better. But it goes along with like the BKB thing I said earlier, where you need to save your BKB for this hero. Whenever Dark Willow pops Bedlam, you just pop your BKB and you don't give a shit. Like, you pop Lifestealer's BKB and then she's just like, well, I wasted my ult. And Lifestealer's like, well, there's 2 low cooldown abilities. I mean, the hero's... I think the hero is quite deal-withable, if that makes sense. But the hero is... she's definitely a banger. I don't know if you ever saw my... total tangent. I don't know if you ever saw my Carnage Chronicles video. It's a VR RPG. And I did a giveaway for them on my main channel. Yeah, so they just added like an inventory system and revamped the entire game. They've been teasing an update since July that just came out right now. So everyone that watches my channel that is interested in VR stuff, it's Dota week, but I will make a video for them because they gave me 5 keys to give away and asked for nothing in return. So I will be looking at that, y'all. Also really enjoyed the game when I played it. Like, it's slowly starting to show its age because other stuff's coming out, but I want to give them as much press as possible. So, next, I'm not going to talk about the cosmetics because I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. Ranked seasons. Have you read this bit?
Yeah, a little bit. They didn't really talk too much about it in the patch notes themselves. Like, they didn't divulge outside of what we're seeing right here. So it's kind of hard to... I mean, this is a good information dump, but it's hard to say, like, okay, so what does this mean for right now? Does that mean that the season is starting right now and everything prior to... Yeah, so like what happens to everything prior?
It's going to use your current MMR. It's going to record your current MMR, your historical MMR, and put that in your profile. And it's going to use your current MMR and or unranked MMR to determine where your placement matches will influence things. Where you'll start with placement matches.
So they seem to be, I mean, it says it right then and there. I don't know if this is their only goal, but it seems to be that they're trying to ensure, quote unquote, better ranked matchmaking experience for everyone. That way you can't have people like Tides of Time. No offense to him, he's a great player, but people like Tides of Time who are like in the mid 6K bracket, they go on break, they go play Overwatch, they go play League of Legends, they go do whatever, and then they come back 3 years later, they still have mid 6K MMR, even though they're nowhere near that in terms of like actually being able to play at a mid 6K level. They come back, they D-rank 1,000, 1,500 MMR, and then they slowly start to climb back up. Like, I think that's one of the big culprits that they're trying to prevent, although that seems kind of like a niche category of things that happens. Like, I don't see that happening every single day. He's actually the only person that I can think of off the top of my head who that's happened to recently, and the only reason I knew about him was because he's kind of a big streamer. So maybe there's more people that it happens to, and I just don't know too much about it. But yeah, I think this kind of helps prevent that a little bit. Another thing that I could see this doing positive for the game is kind of with that new player experience that you were talking about. I think people like casual play people can get a lot more invested in a game if they don't just have one stupid number to shoot for. When you have like a portrait and you have maybe potentially end of season rewards, which this kind of hints at a little bit, you feel a little bit better about the game, I guess. Yeah, it's like StarCraft does that too, but the StarCraft does a very good job of preserving your MMR. I don't know to the extent to which your MMR degrades between like not playing for a long time, but I mean, I like that. As long as we can display it on our profiles, like I don't care with going like, as long as there's a way that I can quickly and easily show like I was this MMR at one point,
then
Yeah.
I'm pretty satisfied. So I don't just in the camera position just a bit. I don't really mind if that's the case, as long as I can display my historical MMR. As someone that used to be, I used to play 10 hours a day, and now I barely play ever. I just make content, and when I play, I'll play like a day of games, just playing different heroes I want to know more about to make with the goal of using it to make more content. Someone in chat, Morden, he's our sponsor. We're sponsored by Morden. Give us $2. He made a comment that said it's a CM alt that follows you and doesn't require channeling. So
Yeah.
the explosion damage is 300, and the damage is 105 at level 1. And what's the intervals at which they're released? Every 0.1 seconds. So
he's not.
That's 1,000 damage per second. Or no, it's how many? What's the total duration of this? Channel times 10. So that's a lack of. There's a total of 100 explosions. So that's 100 times 100 is 10,000 if you get hit by all of them, but considering you're only going to be in that one spot, I don't think it's that far off. I think CMs, if you stand in freezing field for the whole duration, I think you're taking less than double the damage than if this hero just followed you.
Yeah.
Like, that is so fucking broken. Oh my
Pretty
god.
OP.
Guide system upgrade. Is it cool if we skip this?
For sure.
Only thing
about
the only thing that I care about the guide system is how to turn it off. like
I completely agree.
I keep thinking like I need to start making guides in the game for people that want to use that, and I get asked for it every now and again, but I don't think it's going to draw that much more attention to the channel, which is my primary motivation. And it's probably like 1 in 10. It's probably like 1 in 5 guides that I think are cool enough, like my Huskar shit that's just out of this world, that I'm just like, this is so cool, you gotta try this, that I want to make guides for, and then I would forget that I have it because I don't use it on every video, and then I would never do it, and it would just be like another out-of-date piece of content somewhere. Turbo mode. This is my favorite and least favorite change. It might hurt my channel, but I've been thinking about playing some turbo mode tonight. Like, turbo mode is just all pick easy mode. There's no draft. I love it. 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 Yes, it will affect your MMR in some way. Like, not directly, but because it's going to... I'm pretty sure it's going to affect your unranked MMR the way that, like, playing all random does. So you could technically play the fuck out of this, get a really high unranked MMR with this. Carbon Bond just offered to sponsor the channel for $50.
Carbon's not getting me, Mary. Carbon's my.
No, he didn't. Look. He didn't want a sponsor. He just gave. Carbon Bond. He just gave $50.
There you
go. Okay.
Fucking Carbon, dude.
Okay, so give me a sec. I need to put Carbon Bond into the overlay.
Oh shit, dude.
Thank you, Carbon Bond. All right, so do you use Bitcoin? Because that's usually how I transfer money to people digitally.
I don't.
I am going now. I'm giving you like.
Carbon gave me money earlier, dude. He's a good memer.
Carbon Bond isn't like we have an actual.
Carbon, dude. If I ever meet you in real life, I'm gonna punch you. He screwed you up, man. He threw you off, dude. Mac, you gotta get a hold of yourself.
No, I gotta. Carbon. No, this is important.
I'm not saying it's not.
This is like the most important thing that $50 is actually a shitload of money to me, man.
I'm not.
My checks have been so fucked up lately.
I'm not disagreeing with you that $50 is a lot of money. I'm just saying you're getting carboned right now, dude.
I'm getting. Okay. Does he just do this? Like show up and go like, surprise, motherfucker, and then just like.
First real Carbon, dude, is you don't ever judge him for his lavishing, luxurious lifestyle. He's told this to me as well before.
I'm not judging.
He chooses to spend his money how he chooses to spend his money, and that's all there can be said about that.
I am not gonna complain about anybody that wants to donate money to my YouTube channel. It's literally like what I want to do. Where is sponsored by Carbon Bond? Why is it not all the way at the top? It's not all the way. It is all the way at the top. Why? Opacity is 100. Select font, gradient, background opacity. I guess I'll turn it to 50 just to test to see. Why? Why is this being like this? Alright, so I'm gonna turn that off and
Fucking
Carbon. I have an idea. Wait. I think I know what I did wrong. Sponsored by Carbon Bond. That's not actually what it says. Properties. Sponsored by Carbon Bond. Okay. Where are you at? Sponsor tag. What? Where the fuck?
No, you didn't.
Where is it? It should be actually. It should so high on the list. It should actually be. Opacity 100. Background opacity 100. This is actually really weird. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm gonna delete.
Carbon, just so you know, Carbon, I do love you. Okay, man. Hope you didn't. I think when I did a video earlier where I kind of went over some of the patch changes as well. I guess I kind of went over all of them, and I think
you went over all of them.
I didn't go over like all of them in depth or anything. Like, there's a good chunk of the hero talents that I missed. I was really just trying to talk about the ones that impacted the heroes that I play. But I really just want Carbon to know that I said something. I was like, oh man, please no donations during the CDR, and I knew it was Carbon. Like, I didn't even need to like check it. I knew it was Carbon.
Well,
but,
Carbon,
I felt kind of bad now.
Don't feel bad because you can always donate money to my channel because I'm a fucking shill.
It wasn't the donation that
I've been trying to sell out since day one.
Damn, dude.
Hold on, I am.
Matt, you're taking this 50 to the bank, dude.
Dude, I am going fucking straight to the bank with this.
Fucking Matt, dude.
I am so. Wait, why is. Hold on. Almost done with it. I got everything from just tweaking the color now. Select color.
I should find
okay. Okay. I think that looks tasteful. What do you think, Carbon Bond? Carbon Bond, you were a fucking hero.
You're God amongst men.
Yeah, look, can you see it on the stream, Wired?
Yeah, it's updating for me. Hub Trash, sponsored by Carbon Bond, yeah. The opacity was kind of fucked up still. I think my stream's a little behind.
Yeah.
I hit the live button.
I fucking,
Shit.
Sponsored by Carbon Bond. Carbon Bond's gonna, like, I feel like I'm gonna get an email from, like, I'd like to sponsor your content. My company's called I Like Big Dicks. I'd like it directly under both of your heads. I'll send you $2,000 an episode. It's like, alright, well, we're just sitting here just with dick flags on us, like, all day. Alright, anyway. So, turbo mode. What do you think about this?
I think the same that I did about Han when they did this to Han. Don't play it. It's a really... I mean, I'm not telling you not to play it because you can do whatever you want, but for people that are trying to really get into Dota seriously and competitively, I don't recommend playing turbo mode because it's going to throw you off. You're not going to... Yes. You're not playing Dota. You're just playing a different game.
100%. I agree. You'll get
You're gonna develop bad habits, and it's gonna make you a worse player.
Well, I think your mechanics would be actually a lot. I think your mechanics will be a lot better. I think you can improve your mechanics significantly here because I don't think you actually get more gold for creeps. You just get more experience, but you get greater gold over time. But regardless, the way like the raw base bone mechanics of the game work is turbo related. But if you're going to be doing anything competitive, then yeah, if you're doing anything like if you're prepping for a tournament, even if it's like just straight up Dota buff, unless it's a specifically turbo mode tournament, it is a different game mode. And I would not be Can I still hear you? Wow, that's.
Yeah.
I thought you just dipped. Okay, cool.
No, I didn't dip. I'm here. I'm wireless. That's it. I just wanted to make it abundantly clear. I just don't think that this is a good game mode for people that are trying to play the game like super seriously, because even in ranked matchmaking, right, like where the games are still 25 MMR at stake or whatever the heck, like if you just play a bunch of turbo mode, yeah, sure, I guess you could learn the game from a different angle because it's still kind of Dota at heart, but there's just like not losing gold on death and stuff. That's a pretty big aspect of. Like, you're going to start spamming heroes that you have no right spamming in actual Dota, like Anti-Mage, because you're going to think that the game has a bunch of comeback mechanics where it really doesn't. And so you're going to take all this time.
Did you say... Oh, I haven't put up my video yet. So I have like a 10-minute video I actually edited about it. And the opening... even the audio for the first, it's like a 20-second intro, and like the first 4 or 5 seconds of that intro is 1-to-1 the same as my Lycan guide. It's just zooming in on the description of turbo mode with like all of the different rat heroes playing their laugh track, all the different rat heroes playing their laugh tracks. Like it's a good way to learn the game, but you need to understand that in a real game, there's only 2 real primary differences with turbo mode and the real game, and that is you're going to have about like a third of the amount of gold that you get passively for it, and towers are going to die. Towers are going to feel like indestructible walls from hell in turbo mode, or out if you play a lot of turbo mode then leave. Also, like turbo mode is a game mode where towers die. Again, I haven't checked last hitting. I didn't pay attention, but I did last hit a creep, and the golem gave me 24 gold. So I'm pretty sure the neutrals were unchanged for gold last hits. Yeah. I don't know about experience. I know they're changed for gold last hits. I think they were buffed experience-wise, but last hit-wise, especially for gold from neutrals, is the same. Gold in lane might be the same. If gold in lane is the same, then jungling neutrals is jungling is viable in turbo mode, because the jungle will be different if they actually increased the gold in lane, because you're going to be getting shit a lot like slow. So I think they need to do something. They need to make it a universal balance. Whatever they've done, I'm sure they've taken into what I'm talking about to heart, because I don't think they want jungling to be off limits in turbo mode, because you don't nerf the most casual form of playing the game in the most casual mode of playing the game. But yeah. That is a very good point that you brought up. I agree. I didn't even think about that. But if you're hello person whose name is in Cyrillic and I can't pronounce it, yeah, 40-minute. I can handle 40 minutes of a game. I can go into a game expecting 30 minutes and playing for 40, and then being like, yo, what up, it's been 40 minutes, it's cool, and that's fine. What I don't like is like, I got 2 hours to play a Dota match, and or I got an hour and a half to play a game of Dota, and that's like, I might have a little bit more than that, and then I get into it and it's like, that was an hour and 20-minute game, and I'm not late, but I'm now in a rush to do whatever I had to do afterwards. Making the average game time like 20 to 25 minutes in turbo mode is a big benefit. Like, personally, you know my Dota habits. I play a game of... I'll play probably an average of... I go on benders of Dota, but I'll play an average in a typical month. If the patch is good, 5-10 games a week. When the patch sucks, 1 or 2 games a week tops on a Smurf account. In turbo mode, I can see myself playing a consistent amount of Dota, and I can see myself playing a consistent amount of Dota on my real account again. I'm really excited about this. This is the thing that will personally bring me back into the game. And
turbo modus?
Yeah, in fact, I think the biggest problem I have with turbo mode is that it will make professional play less interesting to me because the game will be slower. But I like the idea, and that's a personal preference. I don't think that'll affect most people like that. And I think we'll see turbo mode tournaments in really kind of rare instances, like ability draft and random draft tournaments, because it will have its own meta. It's just a different game. It's just a different game.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But again, like you were saying, if you're prepping to be competitive, or if you're like, I think you are at the point where you could join. easily a tier 3 team, and potentially if your hero pool got a little more got a little wider, you could join a tier 2 team and be a relevant motherfucker. You stop playing Brood every game, which you might have to. But for someone like you who's on that verge, and for someone like me who, when Dendy wasn't 6K yet, I was about to be 5K. Like when I was at that point, I'd be like, I can't play Turbo because I need to be good. But
yeah,
this is actual casual Dota. For people that have played the game for years and don't like spending an hour playing the game. And if you get a shit game filled with feeders and Russians and Peruvians, and and the game's horrible, who cares? It's like 20 minutes. It's no longer an hour of your time. Like, it's so sweet. It's so sick.
At the start of reading this, I was like, oh, this is just easy mode from Han, like just write it off or whatever. Or like, oh, this is just what's it called? What's it called? Overtoss or something like that? Overtumble? The custom game mode that they... No, not or Dota Imba. Yeah, that's a better example actually. I was just thinking like this is just Dota Imba like brought into an actual Valve sponsored game mode. But then now hearing your expressions about this make me think, you know what, it's a little bit more than that for sure. It's actually a good bit more than that. It's not just that game mode. It's something new, I guess. You know, not to sound stupid or like edgy here. I just mean like it's something fresh. It's again, it's like Valve owned, so they can like monitor it more than just if it was a custom game.
Oh,
and I could totally see.
Real quick, could you move your head over a little bit? I've been just kind of passively doing this, but because your resolution is 16:9, like my webcam firmware is bugged. It's 16:9 naturally, but if I change the firmware settings, it'll crash my OBS. So it actually fits to a perfect square. But when you've been leaning, I've just been like sliding around your camera input all over, and so I mean I don't mind, but I feel like it's going to get annoying for the people watching.
No, you're right.
You're good where you are. I mean, if you want to look at the stream output, it'll show you. It's just like because I don't have your whole output.
Yeah, I just
I should have made your screen bigger.
Hopefully I adjusted it. I hope it's a little bit better now.
I mean, you're fine. It's just it's the positioning of you physically, or the webcam physically. It's like as long as you're perfect right now, and you can move. You can't. I'm not saying like go like this, but if you were to go, if you're at the very far edge of your camera, then you're like part of your face is cut off. Okay. So, any more thoughts on turbo mode? Because that's one that I'm like I can only get so erect.
No, not really personally.
Yeah, you're right. I think you said everything. Erect.
Well, I was gonna say I think you said everything that needed to be said. I think you put pretty well.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about ability draft?
Not too much. I don't ever play the game mode. And actually, as a side note, I always thought that ability draft was like turbo mode for Dota players, but I guess turbo mode is now going to be turbo mode for Dota players. Like if you're just trying to relax and de-tilt from Dota, like just go play turbo mode instead of ability draft now, you know? Maybe.
Yeah, well,
maybe.
Personally, it's not even about de-tilting. Like I played so much all pick easy mode. I never played regular Dota back when I was like I say I've played Dota for like 15 years or like 13 years. But up until 2012, so like all but 5 years, so like the first 8 years of that was just all pick easy mode. So when I started playing Dota 2, and I hadn't played in a year or two, I learned pretty quickly. But I was like, man, I can't kill Broodmother with Spiderlings at like 90 seconds into the game anymore. Like,
yeah.
So it is a different game, but I'm fucking hype. I'm fucking hype as hell, dude.
As a side note, that's probably the best thing that you can learn in Dota is finding out that you can't kill Broodmother when she has Spiderlings. It's a very quick lesson to learn. Very easy lesson to learn too. I mean,
also, I can't just killing towers. I could kill towers of Broodmother in like 2 seconds because the hero is the same. The primary mechanic is you're typically going to kill towers about 3 times as quickly. My creeps. By 8 minutes into the game, no hero, I didn't block or go to a lane, and this happened on opposite sides of the map because I did this twice. By 10 minutes, I had a dead tier 2 just from the off chance of neutrals bumping into each other in a weird way. And then slightly imbalancing the lane with a single last hit. I was missing 2 towers at less than 10 minutes in a lane. Like, that's so sick. Tier 2 was killed by creeps. They start sending siege creeps out at like a minute and a half in. I think turbo mode's going to be popular as fuck. And if turbo mode... I think ability draft will be a little bit more popular. Ability draft's always had like a cult following. It's not like all random deathmatch. I think you can usually get an ability draft mode pretty quick. I'm hoping that you can get a turbo mode game as quickly as you can get a normal game, because I think that'd be a blast.
I would hope for quicker. Normal games I found are actually pretty hard to find. Usually people are just
6K.
spamming ring. Well, I guess that's a possibility, but mostly I just find the issue that like when people either A, people just don't play normal games when I choose to queue for them, or B, when people play normal games, they just kind of dick around too much. At least if you're dicking around and you're playing, what's it called? Turbo mode, like at least it doesn't matter as much, maybe? I don't know.
It doesn't, well, the thing is, there's a big psychological, and this is coming from a guy that just got a master's in psych, but I want you to know I'm basing this on absolutely nothing. So there's this psychological thing going on that I'm basing on nothing, but it absolutely is there, where there's unranked MMR and it affects your overall win and loss percentage, and I actually don't know if Dota buff, I don't know how Dota buff's going to treat this.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to me too. If Dota buff adds this into your win-loss percentage, that would be really interesting. Because they don't do it with ability draft, but they do it with all random, and they do it with they do it with single draft, and they do it with random draft and captains. So it'd be interesting to see how turbo mode affects overall win rate and loss rate percentages.
For sure.
But there's something I had that was actually meaningful I was going to say before that, though. Oh yeah, so the psychological thing where when your game starts to suck at 10 minutes, even if you are that positive player and not the kind that has it in their name and then rages, but an actual dude that's like, I mean, if you're playing a core that you like, you know, you lose, you get destroyed in 15 minutes, the game is not over. But it still sucks. With this, it's like, it sucks, but fuck it. Like, it's going to be in 20 minutes, I'll just click the find match button again. It's like a game of StarCraft. They're going to make the game length the same length. Like, it's going to be a little bit longer than a game of StarCraft, 1v1. I'm so happy to be excited for something in this game. Like, I'm so happy to want to play the game that I get paid to make content for.
That got deep real quick, Mac. You made that real deep for a second there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel you. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think this change held that much weight when I first read it, but hearing your story, I guess, about it has given me a new light. I really do hope that it's everything you've made it out to be so far.
I mean, someone on Reddit said it took him 40 minutes to find a game, and people are taking about 20 minutes to find a game in the test realm. So so if it takes you twice as long to find a match as a typical match, then good. Also, test realm population is small. It's probably going to get bigger in the next day or two because of people downloading it, and test realm pop is always small. But at first I was like, why the fuck do I care about Dota 2 test? I can't play, it doesn't affect my MMR. Now that I make shitloads of content on a regular basis, or daily, 3-4 times a day right now, I love it. Ancient Apparition remodel. I can't tell the difference. I can't either.
The same thing with the Enigma remodel. When they did that a while ago, I could not tell the difference, personally.
Hold on. Ancient Apparition Dota 2. Let's...
What
yeah.
other heroes that...
I'm looking at a picture of him from 2000 and... This is a forum post from 2012, like when the game, like this was before I started playing, and when I started playing, I paid $30 for my key. So I've been playing Dota 2 for a long time. This is a old ass picture, and I cannot tell the difference between that and the new AA remodel. But I think it was more the fact that they just made a lot of edges sharper and made him look a little bit prettier, and then made it so you could make customs for him, because I don't think he had his cosmetics were kind of... So I think there's a lot of heroes that would have been better candidates for this, but I'm not complaining about it.
I was gonna say the same thing, but then I started actually looking at the heroes, and I was like, you know what? I actually really like how Dota looks, and I always have. I really like Slardar and Viper were kind of the last on the chopping block, and I'd say really Slardar more than anybody else.
Yeah,
Like,
Viper was okay, but Slardar was
Once they changed Slardar, I was like, you know what? I don't really think anybody needs a remodel. Like, I could kind of see Spectre benefiting from one. They could make her really cool, but she's already cool enough, I'd say, and she fits the theme of her heroes model. Anything else?
Says,
I don't know.
Windrunner should have got the update instead.
Windrunner. Let me think about her.
She says, look at her elbow. Hold on a second. I'm queuing up for. I'm not queuing up. I'm just playing around in private lobbies, and I haven't picked yet. Hold on a second. So, if you guys would bear with me, I'm going to. I don't know why this bug occurred, but I'm gonna click Discord. Is that gonna?
Carbon's like a game dev, so I think Carbon's opinion probably holds a little bit more weight in water regarding these sorts of things. I wouldn't be surprised if.
So, have you tried to play AA yet with the new thing? Do you have the test client?
No, I don't have the test. I refuse to download.
His face is sharper.
Yeah. They changed his eyes too to look really cool. That's one of the things. Like, at least you can, when you're looking at the hero model in the like little portrait, that's gonna look cool to look at.
Did
now
they
in
change
reference.
the portrait? I think the portrait's the same, isn't it?
Is it?
It looks the same. Well, let me enter the game.
It doesn't look like it should be the same. I mean, I'll enter Dota right now.
Oh no, his thumb. Okay, sorry. His thumbnail looks the same. It's a little bit different. Actually, no. It's awesome. It's a really cool he's bigger. The spikes make him look bigger. Whoa. Yeah, no, I take back all the bullshit. This is fucking boss. I don't think I agree with Carbon where there's maybe Windrunner definitely deserved it more than him. But this is pretty good. Real quick, guys, I know it's the podcast, but I have a tab that's locked to Dota. So, why is it not showing Dota? Why? You
didn't just say that you agree with Carbon because he donated you $50, did you?
I would, but no, I actually do agree with him because AA. It's not really that I think Windrunner has a lot of like. It's not that she looks bad, but she's a hero that you see a lot of and looks a little bit awkward at times because. Like, there's things on her that look kind of low res and buggy. Like, anatomically, she doesn't look like a human figure. Like, she'd have notable features if she were. You'd be like, why are you so like flat and why are your arms like so fucking tiny? Why is Dota not showing up?
There's a while where they were trying to make her like the poster child of Dota, and for that little while, I was like kind of thinking in my mind, I was like, you know what? Yeah, man, like this could work. But I'd say if you tried to do that sort of thing now, I'd be a little turned off.
All right, I got
just
it.
because of how.
Yeah. Okay, so if you guys are watching the stream, yeah, she's weird. Okay, so Ancient Apparitions rework is significant. The biggest deal is the thumbnail because I think his face, other than just adding size and sharpness for his textures, he's one of the best looking. He's one of the from what I would consider to be an objective point of view, like the amount of sharpness and shadows and cool effects. He is one of the best looking heroes right now. I think he looks fucking sick. Yeah, Carbon says her right elbow is fused with her wristbands. I'm gonna bring up Windrunner in a second because I agree. Are you cool if we go till like 5? I was planning on going to sleep at 5 or 6 a.m. and I figured that we'd get on these tangents and go. But either way, I don't
know if I can go to 5, but we can go for a while here.
I just wanted to. I mean, we went for so long last time, and last time we were talking about what we wish this would be, and now.
Yeah,
last time was us making a Christmas list. This is us getting ready to. This is us unwrapping the presents and playing with the toys.
Yeah.
So,
or in my case, I'm getting my dick out and I'm ready to stroke. Like some of these changes we'll be coming up on are pretty insane. You'll see.
So Ancient Apparition model is actually pretty sick. All right, I'm gonna turn my settings up higher. I have a GTX 1070, so I can handle most effects. I can probably just play on max. Oh wow, I actually lost some. Oh, I'm streaming. I forgot I'm streaming and I have 2 videos up. But
Kappa.
let me go to a place with a darker background. Maybe right over here. Were these fountains in the? Were these like statues in the fountains before? On Radiant?
It's taking a little while for your stream to catch up. They removed the shrines in the base, but we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Oh no, fountains is what I was talking about.
I'm waiting on your stream to catch up.
Okay, so AA does look boss. The thumbnail is.
Oh, I see.
So you guys see the thumbnail? Let's do a quick thumbnail comparison. So I'm gonna take the Dota 2 test that I have, and I'm gonna stretch it so the resolution will be lowered, but God, this is gonna be. Alright, so you guys see that thumbnail. It's pretty low res right now. I'm going to go into Dueling Fates, or hold on, Ancient Apparition. Ancient Apparition, going to go to the wiki and bring up his current thumbnail. And it is. Alright, so this one was from April of 2016, so it's pretty damn recent. Save image as. I already have it. AA icon. And people going through my computer after I die will think I'm an alcoholic. Ancient Apparition. Okay. So, as you can see from exhibit right the fuck here, I'm pretty sure it's the same. The one on top is the old one. I think a lot of heroes could look better with model update, other than Windrunner, they don't need it. That's from Carbon Bond. Yes, Obscure Mystic. I stream at weird hours, and I'm getting into the habit where just based on like caffeine and B vitamins, I'll sleep weird times. Like I woke up at 5 today and was like, God, I wish I'd slept till 7 p.m. because then I would just go to sleep at like midnight the following night. I'm sleeping less overall, but I'll sleep in like 12-hour intervals, and at least in terms of long-term sleep depth research, you don't need to make up as much, so as you missed. Anyway, doesn't look like his thumbnail was changed anyway, but his model is slightly different. I'm gonna go ahead and fit. Please fit. God damn it, I don't want to do that. Okay, so moving on to the next change, and then I'll turn the show overlay back. I'll turn the show overlay back now. Every day on the Dota subreddit, there's some thread. I accidentally ran the intro. I clicked the button that was. I missed the most obvious button ever. So ping wheel. So we have new pings. What do you think about this? I just think I think it's funny because you have the potential to flame your allies with like they're going
the spamming.
They're going to sell custom ones, and they're going to sell like middle finger ones. I guarantee you there will be offensive custom pings. Limited by Valve. If this game were like rated M already, or at least T, like if it had some kind of rating, like we already have people using horrible language in voice chat. Give us ping. Just give us dick pings. just like a giant cock just appears on the map and then floats up in a ping. Yeah, we know that's going to be used for that. The Bladeform Legacy Arcana, this is more news than discussion because I'm not going to talk about it more than this. The Bladeform Legacy now has a bunch of voice. I don't know if it had voices before, but it has voice now. It's got a full, complete voice pack. And so if you already own the cosmetic, you get all of that. And that's really, really, really nice of Valve. I love it when Valve goes back and edits announcer packs and voice and arcanas and other cosmetics for this, and I'm going to call anything in the game cosmetic that you can equip that's not an in-game item. Whenever you get a cosmetic or purchasable item, and they go back and add new lines to it or improve it, that I love it. I get so excited about it. Just Valve is they're a big company now, and they're not the small startup they once were, but they're the last video game company that I am very, very proud to be a fan of. Blizzard, I am not. I have a Blizzard mouse pad, but it's over 10 years old now.
Like 90% sure you were trolling there about the Valve's no longer the small company they once were. Have you been alive for as long as Valve's been a small?
Well, there's people that still make comments, not even jokingly, about like Google. They're no longer, because when people talk about Google doing things, Google has a huge amount of goodwill towards the community because a lot of people still think of them as that small startup that made a search engine in the early 2000s, and I think a lot of people still think of Valve that way, including myself. They are smaller than a lot of the giants out there, and I'm basing this primarily off the fact that they don't fuck their consumers over every chance they get, and people like EA are just like you see that that's actually a sexual gesture, so. People through the chat wheel was going to be cancer, but it made the game more fun. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't care about being spammed as long as I can disable pings, or when you disable ping, it makes it so if someone on your team pings, if you mute their pings, that they ping once per 30 seconds or something, then I don't give a fuck. That's fine. Drafting. What do you think about this? This is huge, I think.
So I didn't. When I first read it, I didn't understand it. Admittedly, you're talking about the drafting order.
Do you
for
want me
all
to explain real quick?
No, I think I understand it now. Though was so one team will draft one here. Like one team will get first pick, and then you get
first pick.
The team first pick. This is all pick.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Go on.
So I think what they're gonna do is they're still gonna include banning, but what they're gonna do after the big ban cycle of where everybody gets to pick a hero to ban and there's a 50% chance it'll get banned. What they're going to do after that is one team gets first pick, and then the team that's not the team that got first pick now has to pick 2 heroes, and then the team
like CM, like Captain's Mode.
This
isn't the change I thought it was, so it's not that big. But it's basically like it's an order.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
You and I had the same idea.
Yeah,
it's
Captain's Mode. Yeah.
I thought it was Captain's Mode when I first read it. Yeah, for all pick, and I was like, "There's
there is another update that I'll get to, the one I was thinking of. But
yeah.
Each day, 10 heroes are selected randomly as bonus heroes for the day. Bonus heroes
Dumb
that you
change.
pick.
Sorry.
I love this change because it's fucking dumb. It's so fucking dumb. It's so dumb.
Change.
It doesn't make any sense, but I love it. I mean, I think it's cool.
Have you had time for this to like marinate in your brain, or is this like the first time you read it? Because I need this to sink into you. You need to think of all the implications of how this makes the game dumber when you're talking about, specifically speaking, like about the game from a competitive standpoint.
As long as this doesn't go into
ranked games.
Yeah. Well, no, not ranked. Fucking Captain's Mode.
Oh, well, you can't random in Captain's Mode. But yeah, the 10.
Actually, can you random?
You can run out of time, and that'll random the game for you, but it won't give you the gold. No, this is a dumb change. I think this is a dumb change for a variety of reasons. Firstly, it's at first I was like, this is to counteract randoming in solo queue. Like, now you can't really random. You still can random, and if you random, you, in addition to getting a mango, will get. So when you random in solo queue now, or sorry, I say solo queue to mean a lot of things. When you random in a rank game, or I think just in any all pick game, so even normal, you random one of the 10 heroes that Valve has selected to jerk off for that day, and you get the bonus mango. You get one of the 10 heroes that have been selected, so it's not truly random. Like, you're not randoming between 120 heroes. You're randoming between 10 heroes. But in addition to all that, you're also getting an extra iron branch.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh, so randoming only select. Okay, so The only thing that I didn't realize earlier was that the random, I thought it randomed out of all heroes, and if it happened to be one of those 10, you got an Iron Branch in addition. Oh, I don't like that as much. Okay, but go on. You've got more. You've got a more coherent thing going on this than I do.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't like it personally, but I am interested to see how this like. What, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
If I'm going completely silent, that's awesome because that means you can't hear my ceiling fan. So, sweet, awesome.
Okay, good. I didn't like it initially. I still don't like trying to think of the implications that this could have just on the game as a whole. Implications. So what I mean is, you take this change and then you extrapolate it. You're like, okay, well, this is in the game now. Let's see how everybody interacts with this. And now instead of like randoming first pick to troll your teammates or whatever, what you do is you I don't know, you sit there and you enter the game and you're like, hey, I can play all 10 of these heroes, I promise. So is it okay if I random guys? And then you're just like, sure, whatever. And then you random and, turns out, of course, you can't play all 10 of these heroes. It's you can't play them at the level that you proclaim to be able to play them at. And
wait a minute. I don't think you're talking about Dota because I personally have never been asked by a pub teammate if it was cool if they random.
I mean, that's also a good point. I have been asked personally a few.
Yeah, I'm lying. I've been asked a few times, but like.
But then you just do it anyways, even if the entire team is in disagreement about it.
It's like it's an apology.
Yeah,
it's a premeditated apology.
Exactly. It's not as much like.
It's like an opinion poll. It's like a government body doing an opinion poll, and they'd be like, "Yeah, do you want us to dump sludge in the river? Is it cool? I mean, it's not that bad a sludge." And they'd be.
I see you guys are all.
And I
see you guys are all.
No.
It's like I see you guys are all saying no. Why don't you guys rethink your answer while we decide to do it anyways? That's kind of like what it seems like.
Like only like 80% of you said no, so that means at least some people didn't care.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, like this change, in some way or another, I have always liked that Dota. Add some memes to the game. Like Dota's not afraid.
I like that they pick Mango.
Dota's not like they're not afraid to say like, hey, like you're taking this game seriously. Well, here's a chance for you to say fuck your team. Like I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I'm just saying they've always had something like that in the game, and this is kind of like their new randoming, so to speak. Whether or not this is the like, I feel like what I'm really trying to say here is I feel like there's a way to do this right, and this might be a solution or like a part of a solution to the answer, but I don't think it's the full 9 yards, and that's what I'm concerned for. This isn't what we needed, to stop random cancer.
Let me give you my lowdown on this. Okay, so I don't know why it. Can I change in the live chat settings how to make it so if you donate money, because when they donate money, it sends toggle timestamps. Oh, I put timestamps on everything now. Cool. I didn't know I could do that. So if anyone knows a way that I can make it so a super chat or a donation makes it so it sticks at the top of the chat log longer, so when people like Carbon give me $50 or people like Morden give me $2, then I want that to be there up until there's so many additional donations that it gets blocked. I know there's Twitch algorithms that do it. And if other people continue donating, and I'm saying like if I get like another $20 in donations that are all at least $1, because I don't want to put it to 10 cents, then I'll make it so for like 50 cents or $1 you can donate, and we'll do the text to speech. Like I'm totally ready. I'm ready to shill. I had Amazon affiliate links and didn't sell anything. I'm trying to shill, but anyway, I love this change because personally, randoming heroes there's a trend that's going on in Allpick, and I like it and I don't like it. So all pick is supposed to be an objective measure of skill based on you being able to play any hero you want with no restrictions that come with captain's mode. And when they've added a single ban, I didn't like it. Like, I didn't mind it, and I didn't think that they would take it further, but now that they've taken it further, I hate it based on the principle, because they're making it more like captain's mode, where everyone's just trying to be the captain or do their own thing, and now you have an even longer game, which is another reason why turbo mode is great, because you don't have to sit through the pick. I think the all-pick drafting order and having a big all-pick draft with bans on top of it is going to contribute to the growth of turbo mode. Wired, can you still hear me? I think he walked out of range.
No, I can.
You're beeping and booping. I think he's like borderline. I think he's in borderline range. Either way, I don't like all pick having a draft order. I think it would be fine if they gave all pick, like, if everyone picked one hero and it was banned, and so you got 10 bans in all pick. Like, if everyone gets to pick a hero and it's banned, and they had 10 bans, or so. I know they were doing this as of the start of last patch, but again, I don't play ranked all pick. I play regular all pick. Wired, when you ban, if there's only 2 bans, they randomly, if only 2 people pick a hero to ban, they randomly select one of them, right? Like they
Yeah, so...
Yeah, fuck that shit. Everyone gets to pick a hero to ban if they want to. Ban those 10 and get rid of the draft. It will make the games quicker, and it will fix the problems with the draft, in my opinion. I think, like, because the only other problem with all pick that comes out of that is, well, now everyone can pick anything at any point in time, and what if one team gets all the OP heroes? Well, you're either banning the OP heroes or you're picking them, and now you're not just competing with the enemy team, you're competing with people on your team to pick the hero you want as fast as possible. But with 10 bans, who fucking cares? Like, who cares? Like, it's fine. Just make it 10 bans. I mean, I like this idea because it's prepping people for competitive mode more, and it shows a general shift towards ranked all pick being actual serious fucking business. And to be fair, when they first released ranked all pick, I took that shit more serious than I did my college, like, fucking, than my finals. Like, and I took them and I didn't blow them off. My GPA in undergrad was like a 3.6, like 3.5 something overall. But I took my ranked games very seriously. I don't think this is necessary, but I do agree. The only thing that I like about this, the only thing that I like about this is that it makes all pick take longer, which I would have hated if we didn't have turbo, but it's going to make more people want to play turbo, which, alright, see you, Obscure Mystic, sorry you have to leave us. But because they did this, and because they made turbo, it's going to push more people towards turbo if you don't have the time. It also makes ranked all pick more serious, and I feel like there's kind of like the feeders that you don't want in your game. Those motherfuckers are not, like, well, it'll be interesting to see where most of them go, because those fuckers that feed when the game goes poorly are the people that take the game the most seriously. Like, my all pick games are way, on my Smurf account at least, because I haven't played all pick even on my unranked, on my main account in over a year, but on my, actually probably 8-9 months, I think it's been a year, but on my Smurf account, which MMR is 3,800, something like that, the unranked games I play are 10 times harder than my ranked games. My ranked games are also they're packed to the brim with bad people, and they're easier. My win rate in ranked is way higher on that account. Like, I was like, I had this project for a week where I was like, let's see how I can get it, and I played, like, I don't know, I went from 3,500 to 3,700 in like an afternoon, and then just like didn't do it anymore. But for 37.50 in an afternoon, I don't know. I think we're going to see those people you hate in. They're not going to be playing Turbo. Is my point. I'm hoping Turbo's going to be good.
Yeah.
Lane creep changes. I think the.
Well, I want to say real briefly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say real briefly, like, if I could. A lot of the concerns that you mentioned, I think warrant some merit, like of a response. But I'll try to keep it brief and just say that I don't overall think that the game will, in any way, shape, or form, become like more trolling based because of this. I feel like this, if anything, was like a response that Valve wanted to give to randoming an all pick being kind of like the go-to cancerous decision to do if you don't care about the game anymore. This was like their way of circumventing the issue, where it's like, okay, you're going to get a static set of heroes, which probably isn't as fun. Sometimes when you've given up on a game and you're hell-bent on trolling and you hit that random button, you're just like hoping that you get a core and that your team has to give you a lane that core fits into.
I think most randoms that end up being poor picks are people that pick it and repick. Removing repicking is another one that's giving me a fucking massive hard-on.
Yeah.
You can look at a list and go, I have like a 7 out of 10 chance of getting something I don't suck with.
Yeah, that's a good point. Removing repicking really makes it more. I mean, again, it's only you only have 10 heroes that it's going to random out, right? So like, there's no chance that if you random. Again, you've really like you've set in stone your decision to pick one of the 10 heroes that are available. And when you get that roll, you can't just be like, oh, I really hope I get one of these 5, because you don't even have a repick to fall back on. So if you're randoming with a purpose, because for whatever reason you appreciate the extra mango and the iron branch that you get at the start of the game, I don't know, more power to you. Your gold is spent for you, so you don't just get 150 extra gold. It's on a mango and an iron branch that I assume you cannot sell back. I know you can't sell mangoes, and the iron branch probably won't give you. It'll probably at most give you 25 gold. You can't probably sell it.
Oh, you can't sell mangoes?
No.
You wouldn't want to.
Well, it even says that right there. It says cannot be sold, but you can't sell mangoes anyways. Mangoes are unsellable items. But it's a little sidetracked. I'm just trying to say that, like,
I'm glad people don't even say it because I have that specific line highlighted. I'm glad people aren't seeing my screen.
I was just gonna say that. Like, if you want to random now, you can still do it, and you still will get a small benefit for doing it. The trade-offs, I think, are more severe for the trolls out there, and for the people that take randoming seriously. For the 2 or 3 people out there that actually do, that think randoming is good for the game, that it's good for them, it gives them a wider experience of heroes and roles. I don't think this will affect them that much in a negative way.
Yeah, I agree, and I think randoming is something that it's not trolly. Like, to me, when I random, it's because, like, I feel like a lot of people that random, maybe not in ranked, but in general, if you're a ranked player that got to a certain MMR, if you're like a 4K player, I think 4K, maybe 5K is about as high as I would say of heroes, of people that don't go, I'm main heroes, and everyone hates saying that I have mains in Dota. They're like, this is not LoL. Fuck that shit. You still main. Like, you still have a role you're best at, and you still have a list of 5 to 10 heroes that you essentially main. If you're playing a game where you're hellbent on getting MMR, you have a very small pool. Everyone's like that. It might depend on the patch because you're that flexible, but you're going to have a set list, and it's probably in the single digits of heroes that you're picking when you're trying to win. And now if you see one of those in random, you can grab it. But anyway, the people out there that that actually got to 4 or 5K with a very broad selection of roles and heroes that love to random, I think that's what I see in most of my pub games. But it's based on the fact that I can play half the heroes pretty well, maybe a quarter of them very well, and then like another quarter that I can't play really well, and then a quarter I just can't touch. And so they double random because they fucked up and they have less gold. I think I normally say like just mute when you're eating, but I think it adds a cool sound effect, so fuck it.
I'm sorry about
no,
that.
It's fine.
I'll mute.
I love just going like I'm just eating because it makes me sound so like degaff. But anyway, I love the fact that the mango is a specific item. It gives you a nice early game bonus, gives you that +1 regen, and it's cool. and it fits the theme of the game. Ice Frog loves mangoes. It's his favorite fruit. So I think it's neat. I love this change. I think that's less gold because the bonus gold before was like what, 200?
No, it was 150. It still gives you. Wait,
but
I'm like 90% sure it was.
Um,
Let me tell you. Here's the way that I would change randoming. Just because you and I disagree on this, but we disagree and we're close. We're close to disagreeing. Like my disagreement on this is that like I don't like what the system is currently, but I think that it's an upgrade from what it was previously. The only change that I would make to this system to suddenly make it good, as opposed to what I think it is right now, which is just passable, is when you random, you auto buy the courier for your team. That's it. That's all I wanted them to do. I just want them to, if you random, you get that gold. Like the bonus gold just becomes the courier for the team.
Have you read all the patch notes, my man?
I have not, and that does not happen. And when I read the patch notes, you'll see later that that's on like not possible.
Oh God! Okay, so
yeah.
We'll
they increased the gold on the courier.
And
I'll
made
just
it so flying is free.
Yeah. I just wish that they would have maybe kept the gold to cost the same or whatever, and just made it so that when you random, or just even now, like make it so that when you random, you just buy the courier for your team, and there, boom, like you random, you get 200 extra gold for your team, but it's in a courier. You know, that's the only change I want to see them do to randoming.
The problem is like even if they only gave you one additional Iron Branch, you buy the courier for your team, and the second
nothing else.
The second person that randoms gets nothing.
Oh yeah, I guess you can. Yeah, that's right.
Because multiple people can random, but
yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I love that shit. I love
what?
I fucking
first
love
person
that.
to random.
Yeah, I love that idea. Make it so first person that random buys the team a courier, and additional randoms, the dudes get fucked. Still make it out of the same set of bonus heroes though, and sorry. Here's what I would do. So for the 10 heroes that they want to give bonus heroes, leave the bonus heroes in. If you random, you can get any hero, including a bonus hero. If you get a bonus hero, you get the mango. And if you don't get the bonus hero, you buy the courier for your team. And then if another person randoms, they bought the courier. You start with a courier already spawned, and additional randoms, same rules apply. Or no, fuck it. If you random and you get a bonus hero, you get the mango and the courier spawned. That way it just discourages more randoming, and you're forced to do that. I'm okay with someone randoming, getting the courier if they're the first random, and getting the mango, and then additional people that random don't get the mango unless they get one of the 10 heroes that give you mango. I like the 10 hero mango thing. I really love the 10 hero mango thing. I think that's really fucking cool. Because it forces you down a very linear path, and it's not just like 150 gold that can let you buy items that you normally wouldn't be able to get at the start. So I really like that.
I like the idea of that.
The mango's a pretty inflexible item, and it's a nice bonus. So yeah, Pudge Arcana is going to come. Relax, we just had TI6. So yeah, I could talk about this change for a long time though. I really love I'm really excited about it. However, I don't think it's as big of an impact on Dota Turbo. It'll be nice when the heroes that I do like to play are on it, but in Dota Turbo you get money so fast you don't give a fuck. So
from now on, Dota Turbo will be described as Max love child, just for the remainder of this. We'll
call it esports mode.
Esports mode.
Ironically, esports mode, because I'm like the most casual Dota player. Oh my god, I want to play a couple games of this and see how long they last. And if this is a game where if I'm bum rushing and really just trying to like split push as hard as I can, and that
you're getting away with it,
that works, or at least it forces the game. And if it doesn't force the game to be quick, like if the average game time is 20 minutes, and based on what I've seen in game, the average game time might be 20 minutes, I'll be a fucking Dota guy again. Like, not just a content producer. This will be the thing.
Yeah. Like this will be the thing that brings you back to the game. Yeah.
This is gonna light that spark again. I've been waiting for something like this for 2 years for me to want to be addicted again.
Yeah.
because it's not really. It's never been it's never been an addiction to Dota. It's been an addiction to winning, and for me, this makes the game an addiction to playing the game again. So, anyway,
got deep again there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of psychology that goes into Dota, especially for people like you and me that have been here for years. So laning, middle lane no longer has an additional melee creep. I think they should put like an additional melee creep at level 1 just to give like an extra bonus, or like the first 2 waves or something. But especially considering the way things work in Dota Turbo, which again I'm expecting to be, it's not competitive, but I expect it to be popular, so a lot of people will experience it. In Dota Turbo, it would probably fuck things up if they did that. But what do you think about it? The middle lane creep?
I have no thoughts on just this change as a standalone. My thoughts will come later as we read a little bit later on. Okay. So I'll remain silent on this one change.
Denied XP granted to the enemy from the player.
You skipped one. You skipped an important one.
Yeah, I was gonna skip it. I'm not as in Dota Turbo by 8 minutes just sitting in your fountain, the creeps, because it happened on opposite sides for me, but the creeps of your off lane will kill the safe lane tower and your tier 2 before 10 minutes. It happened to me when I was Radiant both times just testing this. Without touching the lanes, I was just idling around recording stock footage essentially for my videos, and it killed my off lane killed 2 towers before 10 minutes by themselves in one, and the enemy off lane. So it happened on opposite sides both times. So they die very, very quickly, and I think it's due to that change.
Okay, this is gonna sound a little offensive, and I don't mean for it to be. But this change is a very it's like a hard to understand change if you're not thinking of the game from the perspective of the lanes that it affects directly, and because maybe you don't play the game too much, or because when you do play it's jungle oriented.
Just making
it's hard for you to
making your safe lane safer. I mean, it depends how close they get to the tower. It makes your safe lane safer, and it makes the game harder for the off lane.
Exactly, and that's important. That's an important change, especially for somebody like me who plays.
I kind of want to go over this and then let you correct me. I'm curious to how much I can pull out of this as as
somebody
compared to you.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to rip on you. I'm just saying this is an important change that it seemed like you kind of glossed over.
If you're, I didn't think about it too much, but I think it's a change you would feel. If you're when you get into the game, you're gonna feel this change because, and I think it's going again. We lull now, boys, every single patch, but I'm seeing the things that they're making more lull-like, and I'm becoming more and more okay with them because they're still making a point to preserve the differences between the games and to keep our game the more difficult of them. It just makes it easier if you're a noob. Because if you're a noob, then you're playing with noobs. They don't know how to last it. They don't know how to deny. And those lanes are still going to be meeting in those noob games closer to the enemy tower because you'll have less effect on creep equilibrium because you suck. So,
yeah,
I think...
It's the initial block. It's the initial creep block.
The initial block now counts so much more, which is really, really
it's a big
important.
deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. For getting to level 2, as you'll see later on, is also a big deal in this new patch, I think.
Yeah, and you get it instantly. It's 200 experience.
Yeah, well, not instantly, but you get it quicker.
It's one creep wave if you're mid.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to get, and early deaths don't mean as much, so dying for that level 2 isn't going to be that big of a deal if you can guarantee your level 3 and 4 afterwards, if the enemy has to push into you just to dive you. And so, and again, we're kind of spoiling it a little bit, but this is not a change to go completely under the radar, because making sure that, as you'll also see, making sure that the enemy doesn't just get a free farm while you sit in the trees and leech EXP is now going to be a big deal. Because if they do that, they're going to be denying so much EXP from you. And that's because of the next change that you can read over if you'd like.
Oh, I hit a button wrong. Okay.
You're good. It was denies.
Denies. I love this change too. At first, I read the first line, denies EXP granted to the enemy. reduced from 70 to 25. I read that line, and I hate that. But when I read the line, because that's more LOL-like, because it's penalizing a more difficult to execute mechanic that doesn't even fucking exist in LOL. But the fact that the denied EXP gained by the denier has been reduced from 30 to 25, I like that. I like that they're trying to make that equal, but I would like to see 50 given to the denier and 20 given, or sorry, the player being denied only getting 25%. I would like to see like 50-50 here. Actually, I misread this patch. I misread this change. I actually love everything about it. So
I was going to say, it seems like you misread it. Yeah. I hate it personally.
Wow,
what this means is that, okay, so...
More nerfs the offlane.
Yeah, exactly. Let me break this down for you, Mac, okay? Because it's kind of hard to... Check this out. You walk into the offlane. You walk up to a Rubik and a Lion, and the enemy carry is a Sven, right? It's a terrible lane, but it's also a strong lane. It's a bad lane scaling into the mid game because you have 2 5s. Wait, who are you
playing as? It's Lion and Sven?
You can...
Did you specify a hero?
The 3 enemy safe laners, you can be playing as whoever. Literally, whoever you pick will die to that lane because they have a triple stun lineup. They have decent nuke potential, and they have an amazing way of just catching you. Right? It just Rubik instant disable, picks you up, throws you back. There's no counterplay to that unless you're a very niche pool of heroes. And even then, you could still die because that's a triple stun lineup.
And you have no poor man shield.
Here's what they do. Well, actually, yeah, sure, you have no poor man shield. So what happens is, you walk up to the lane. The lane is sitting right at their tower because of the change prior to this, where the creeps, it's harder to get the creeps towards your tower. And all they do is they fucking freeze their little bitch ass lane. You try to leak in for a little bit of trickle EXP, but you get denied every single creep that you're in range for, and you get no EXP whatsoever. And so you're sitting around like level 5 minutes into the game at level 2, and you're sitting there like crying because you're like, I can't do anything. I can do nothing. I can take bounty runes when they're up, but I'm like level 1 bristleback. Right? I can't roam. Okay, I can't walk into the lane, and the Sven is level 4, and I'm level 1. That is bullshit. This is a bullshit change, and I think as I was reading over it previously, I don't think I really. I read on to some of the other notes, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't that bad. But I don't know. As I'm starting to marinate with this change a little bit more, I'm starting to realize, no, this is that bad. This is a huge nerf to a lot of offlaners.
Well, I think what it really does is it's a big nerf to an offlaner, and that's the primary thing going on there. But it's
a big nerf to some offlaners. Some offlaners can.
It's a huge buff to the safe lane to a defensive tri lane.
Exactly. That's what it is.
I like that because we haven't seen a lot of jungles late. We haven't seen a lot of junglers in the last patch, and I hate that too. But you know what I hate more?
Roamers?
I fucking hate the dedicated roamer, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's Dota specific, and it's something only we have. But it's so fucking annoying in pubs, because either the player does that, and then he disrupts the entire enemy's game, and it's usually not enough for you to win the game because of it, because it's a pub. You might win the game because of it, because of a snowballing effect in a pro game, but in a pub it's not going to be enough to win. And if he doesn't get shit done, then you have a level 1 whatever the fuck for at like 5
or something.
Yeah, I mean they'll be level 2 now because of the change to experience and because of the buff to creep experience. But
But he'll still be like under level.
It nerfs roamers by making them pointless.
By making something else better.
By making an alternative to one better. And I think the jungle is actually a good bit better now for certain heroes. For heroes that are designed to jungle, I think the jungle is better. See, Iron Talon is a great item, but it made us lose sight of how good the Quelling Blade combo is with Stout, and Stout also got a buff. And I miss the days of the Stout Quelling Blade combo, and people were less willing to experiment with things like that, and less willing to bring a Stout to the jungle because then you couldn't buy the Iron Talon, and you like having the... You're less likely to sell the Quelling Blade later on in a lot of cases because there's a chance you're going to build it into Battle Fury. So, even though there aren't that many jungling Battle Fury heroes, I just really like... I don't miss the Iron Talon as much as people think I do. I'm really excited to go back to the old school, just straight up Quelling Blade. Also with Quelling Blade, you no longer have to time the use of Quell, because Iron Talon's Quell for trees shared it with enemies, or the creeps. So if you quell a creep right before trees respawn, then you're fucked, because then the tree spawns and then you have your vision blocked and you can't continue. But that's more of a very jungle specific change. But overall, I don't know. I like the change because it nerfs the offlane. And I believe you said you wanted to see a buff to offlaners.
Yeah, a lot.
I think what they were trying to do is the offlane wasn't a very strong position, but the problem with the offlane, I think, in the last patch was that you could poor man shield Iron Talon your way into making any offlaner, any hero an offlaner. And I think they've buffed offlane specific heroes, or heroes they want to offlane, to be in the offlane. And they've taken heroes like, it'd be cool. I haven't looked at Tide in a lot of detail. I don't think Tide Hunter was changed much. Tide Hunter, I think it just got talents reworked. Yeah, and bigger Ravage AoE and slightly lower Ravage speed, but his gush damage level 10 is buffed, and he's getting movement speed level 10. I don't know. I don't know. I think I like it because I think it's going to force traditional offlaners back into the offlaners. Beastmaster got a big buff. I think they're trying to make the old school, what we think of as offlaners, offlaners. And that is, typically speaking, a utility hero, not a carry. So,
yeah,
I
that's
like,
the big thing.
I like that.
This definitely nerfs carry offlaners. That's the big thing that this patch does. Is if you are picking an offlaner with the intent of being a true third core, and not just like an initiating team fight,
or potentially utility, out farming your number one position in the mid and late game. But yeah,
you're not going to be able to do that as effectively now. You can still do it maybe, but I don't know. I guess
you're jungling for the first couple of levels.
Yeah, probably, because you just can't approach the lane and you can't get any XP out of it. So you can't. There's really no. It's just it's a nerf for sure to greedy offlaners. Yeah.
Heroes now start with a TP on cooldown. And I think all TPs start on cooldown at the beginning of the game.
Yep, you get a free TP, but you can't supports can't TP out to lane and smoke and place wards now. Rip.
Hold on, I'm gonna check something before we continue. Okay, so I'm gonna check just to be sure. But so Pit Fermi, I don't know if he's a fan of yours or mine or both, hopefully both. I'm gonna start a game with Pangolier real quick. I don't know if it's your right or me right on that, but yeah, okay, so they start on cooldown. I'm gonna drop this by another one. Is there any way to refresh that TP at level 1 with any hero? I don't think so.
Hyphen refresh.
Okay, so interesting. So there, wow. That's really interesting. Cool. I like the change. I like that change a lot because... Oh, thanks Pit Fermi. I've seen you around here for a long time, but I didn't know if you've been following Wired or me. Wired is... I don't know how much you know about Wired, but he's a top tier Brood player. He's a 6K Brood player.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
For the time being, till we go through the new MMR changes. We talked about that, right? Yeah, we talked about that. So the TP scroll change is really cool. I think that's one of the best changes in the game, because I think starting with a TP is really, really cool. I would have been okay with starting with a TP on cooldown and then making it so you could still buy one and TP out. I don't mind that. TPs having really long cooldowns is something I also love, and it's also going to make it so Pit Fermi, Wired Guitars is a 6K player who's essentially mains Broodmother, and he plays a lot of other heroes. Great Earth Spirit, but Wired is a Brood boss. He's better with Brood than I was at Lycan. He's way more flexible. So Yeah, I like the change. I don't really like the change. I don't like prohibiting people from using TPs in the early game, and not for wards, but for the fact that, the way they changed up the positioning of the shrines, you'd have a lot of fucking Roche fights early on. You could try a level 1 Roche. We were talking about that on our wish list, and you're not going to see a level 1 Roche. I don't think.
No, you're not.
You can't have TPs.
If we scroll down a little bit further, you'll also see why that's probably a little bit more difficult to do.
But hold on. Shrines and Glyph. Remove the shrines from the base. Love that change. Fucking hated that. Because it was like... And maybe it's just me, but I feel like there's way more instances, and I play Rat Dota, but just in general, instances watching competitive matches where I was like... It feels like the team I'm rooting for, or the team that's in the comeback right now, is getting destroyed because the enemy effectively use shrines. Like, they always seem to be that thing that saves your enemies versus you, at least in my experience. I would like the shrines to start off cooldown, though. I think the shrine... I miss the shrine starting off cooldown, or maybe make it 2 minutes in or 3 minutes in. But now, because of the way they change lane creeps... because of the way they change jungle creeps, the 5 minutes might be fine because you got to spend another minute in the jungle. Creeps! Extra siege creep now spawns at 30 minutes instead of 40 minutes. I would assume that's 20 minutes or 15 in Turbo. Fixed lane creep spawning a minute too late.
I think that was a bug. I'm not entirely sure when I first read that. I was confused.
Have you experienced that?
No.
Lane creep spawn at a minute late?
I don't know what that means, if I'm honest with you. When I first read that change, I was like, I don't know what to...
They just double spawned fucking waves at those times.
I don't know. I've always been...
Maybe it was adding an additional creep. Maybe it was like so you get an extra creep to the wave at 16 minutes and it was supposed to be 15?
Your guess is as good as mine. The next change is kind of funny, though.
Lane creeps upgrade amount is now capped at megas. So, oh, yeah, no fucking shit. That never should have been a thing anyway.
Have you ever experienced that in a real game?
No! You have to have a 4-hour game for that.
Yeah, I know, but it was funny.
I think that's stupid. I would also... Ooh, I wonder in Turbo if they upgrade more quickly. They didn't give us any numbers for Turbo at all. You just have to go in there and figure it out. So,
Rip.
I did some of that in my Turbo video that is going to be uploaded today. But, yeah, I don't know. Creeps... Extra siege creep is now 30. We just went over this. Armor mechanics. Armor formula adjusted to 0.06 times armor divided by 1 plus 0.06 times armor. So I'm going to say, let's say, let me get my calculator here, because this is actually kind of awkward one to calculate. So let's say I have 10 armor, so that'd be 0.6, so it's 1.6 divided, or it's 0.6 divided by 1.6. 0.6 divided by 1.6. So that would be 0.0375, and now it's 0.05, so it would be 1, that'd be, what's that, 0.5 divided by 1.5. So it's a good bit smaller. But the thing is, armor formula, what does it mean by armor formula?
I think the way that I read this is armor means less.
It does, but I'm trying to figure out like what the original formula was. It means, like, if you scroll down, you say they increased all tower armor. Base armor.
All I know is Roshan got 3 extra armor, and I think that means they changed it. So that these changes maintain parity with the overall damage reduction of structures before the above formula change.
Yeah.
I want to say that this means that, at least for structures, this doesn't really make a difference. All this means is that heroes armor means less on. But then I saw Roshan, and Roshan's not a structure. So Roshan gets 3 extra armor, and I think that means that even though armor's worth less, he still has more damage reduction at the start of the game than before.
Okay, here it is. So it is the damage multiplier for positive and negative armor.
Yep.
So for a single point of damage, previously, if you had 10 armor, if you had 1 point of damage and you had 10 armor, you would take 0.375. That's a smaller number though. 0.33 is smaller than 0.77. What is any physical damage dealt to a unit suffers either a damage reduction or damage increase depending on the target's armor. So if you're at armor damage multiplier, so you take 5% less damage if you have 1 armor. At 10 armor, you take 62.5%. Okay, so I have to inverse the numbers I just did. Okay, so the amount of damage out of that 1 is supposed to represent 100%. So wait, that still doesn't make any sense. So before you would have taken, with 0.5 being more damage, before you would have, I'm missing something here. The damage multiplier is equal to 1 minus, so I have a value that's 0.375 and a value that's 0.33, and 0.33 is the new one, and it says that they're the same. So that's like at 10 armor, you take 4% more damage from physical than you used to. That's kind of a lot. So it makes every point of armor worth less.
Less, right?
Yeah, it does. That I've calculated. I'm just trying to figure out an example. So let's do. We add an extra 0 here. I can't. I got to do it over again because it's a formula. So let's say if you had, let's say, 25 armor. So 25 divided by 25 times point. We'll go with 20 because that's easy. 25 is easy. So 0.12. Wait, 10 would move that to 0.6. So 1.2 divided by 2.2 is equal to 0.5454, and then now it would be 1 divided by 2, so it'd be 0.5. So you take 4% more damage with 20 armor. What? This change is multiplicative in a way that it should scale more than that. So like, if you have 10 armor, you are taking 4.2 more damage. If you have 20 armor, you're taking 4.5% more damage. So this scales. 1 point of armor is worth less than a single point of armor was before, but the more you add to it, the smaller that difference gets. Right? Because that's... Wait, the bigger the difference gets, but it grows at a slower rate than you would think. So like at 1 point of armor, it's at 1 point of armor it is 1.0, or we'll go with 0.06 divided by 0.106 is equal to that, and then 0.05. So at level 1, you take 0.09. This is a percent. So this would be... Oh, these numbers are so tiny. So you take 5.5%. You have 5.5% physical resist for armor with the old way, with 1 point of armor. Now it is 4.7%. So it looks like that gap, proportionally speaking, is getting smaller as it goes up. Does that make sense?
I think.
Okay, so
Logarithmic, right?
Let me explain real quick. So 1 point of armor is now worth less than a point of armor was before, but the difference between it at 1 armor and 5, like the difference between the new armor and the old armor, is way bigger at 5 armor than it is at 50 armor. If you are not going to notice this later in the game. So if you have 20 armor, you're only taking 4.5% more damage from physical attacks than you used to at 20 armor. And
that makes sense.
At 10 armor, you're taking 4.2. That's a weird ass formula. Just the way it works, because you have addition involved with the formula in in the denominator. It might actually be shaped like a curve if they've updated it for the wiki. It'd be interesting to see a comparison. But I think the big change the big takeaway from here is that if you have 0 armor, you have 0 reduced damage. And if you add a single point of armor, so like let's say to a hero that has none, like Tiny, you now take 4.7% less damage versus it used to be 5.6. The difference between the two numbers appears to get smaller as it gets bigger, but it might start getting... It might be like based on the function, I could see it being quadratic. Is that what I'm thinking of? Where you have a bell shape? But the difference is small, and the difference is bigger. The difference is large at low armor values. So the takeaway from all of the math that I just did is that it means small amounts of armor is worth... It makes you more vulnerable in the early game. It also means that if you throw -2 armor onto someone, that damage bonus is smaller than it once was, but the farther away you get from 0, the more dangerous it becomes, and that when you're not far from 0, a single point of armor contributes more than it used to. I think the big thing about this change is every single change in the game, or at least looks like the overwhelming majority, makes it so things are harder to kill rather than doing more damage, which is another we lull now boys thing. Have you noticed that? You agree with that general tendency? Shit's got tankier?
A little bit, I suppose.
I think overall this patch things are harder to kill and take longer to kill than they did before. except for this armor change. And I think this armor change is there to counteract that. Like, think about the way Int gives you spell resist now, and Strength gives you lockdown resistance, and Agility gives you movement speed. All of those things contribute to you not being as easily killed. So making armor worth less, especially at low levels, is a big fucking deal. I think that's why that happened. Base structures, tier 4 tower HP regen has been... I'm going to skip over these. Just stop me if you want to talk about one.
No.
Because I'm going to breeze through them.
Yeah.
Base structures, tier 4 tower regen is removed and given to Ancient. That should have been that the whole way on. The Ancient should be hard to kill. The tier 4 should not, in my opinion. Or at least they shouldn't be super hard to kill. You should be able to chip away to tier 4 and then leave it. And I think this goes along with what you were saying earlier about how adding that change makes us more like we used to be. The dynamics more like we used to be. Rework mid lane changes. The mid lane seems more balanced, and I like the game being asymmetric, but mid lane specifically I think should be symmetric. I love having different benefits to being on the Radiant and different benefits to being on the Dire, but the fucking mid lane, a one-on-one lane that is usually not that way because there's ganking and roaming, which roamer's now been nerfed too. So it makes it so the mid lane seems to be more fair. It seems like the mid lane has been, this patch, geared toward being much more focused on the two people in it. The two opponents. Rework Dire safe lane jungle I like. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I definitely think that the mid lane being more one-on-one centric also, I think you said this, but like the roaming change definitely encourages that.
Yeah.
Oh, not the roaming change, but the change to the safe lane being something that you should...
Yeah, which encourages the safe try.
Yeah, the idea of like guaranteeing your safe laner's farm could significantly cut down on the amount of EXP that the offlaner will get, which henceforth, because free farming the lane means a lot more now. Basically, is what it comes down to.
Yeah,
being able to free farm a lane and guarantee every deny means so much more now. You're getting more out of it.
I was about to say, it's not free farming the lane, it's making sure you get the deny. This also might change, because typically, like the golden rule is like, your anti-mage, because I always use them as my care example, if you have a defensive try, your anti-mage is doing nothing but CS, and your supports aren't even helping him deny. Like, that's what he's supposed to do. You may even see supports denying things now, or setting up systems where supports are supposed to, because the deny is so important. I love penalizing...
We said that about last... We said that about last patch, in fairness, right? We said that like denies are such a big deal, it creates its own EXP opportunity. I guess what I'm really trying to get at here...
now it's about penalizing the enemy, though. Like before, I think... Because is deny EXP shared? With everyone around the guy that denied it?
Yeah, but it's such a small amount that it's not even worth talking.
I was just curious. Yeah, but the thing is, now it's... Before, when it was 70% to the denier, or it was 70% to the player being denied, yeah... When it was 70% to the player being denied, I mean, it's so much about it hurts them so much when you deny. I love it when they make denies more important because it separates us from LoL.
You got those Master Race glasses on.
Yeah, I've never taken them off. I'm subbing.
That's fair. No, you're fair. I'll say it like this, okay? Denies are definitely a bigger deal. It hurts the offlaners when the enemy cores are getting it. If you can kind of play the game greedily and guarantee that your safe laner will be able to get denies even without your presence in the lane, then this is identically the same patch as last patch, because if you can get that first few level advantage, and then you have a safe laner like Lifestealer who's pretty self-sustaining, who can also kind of put his own pressure on the safe laner even just by himself, and create solo kill opportunities if the offlaner comes up too close. Basically, if the offlaner is a piece of shit, weak hero as well factors into this. But yeah, if you have that kind of dream scenario, then you can still go roam. Like, roaming is still something that's, you are allowed to do that. And you may say in some ways it's more encouraged because the changing of the bounty rune makes your bounty rune a lot more guaranteed if you're on your side. It makes it a little bit harder to steal on the enemy team, but that's not even actually the case, because the bounty rune for the offlaner is where their shrine used to be, so it's more accessible. You don't have to go deep into the offlane jungle. And then also, your bounty rune is more guaranteed. It's a little bit deeper into your own jungle, but it's a lot more safe for you.
Which also brings it closer to the enemy offlaner, which means, which in my opinion, encourages that defensive try, because now you have two heroes that are going to dissuade him from trying to be anywhere near that bounty rune. It's way more dangerous for the offlaner to go for
Get his own
the
bounty
safe
rune.
lane bounty rune.
Yeah. Well, they didn't usually used to do that. Usually
I know
what
they
do
didn't.
is-
They didn't used to do that because it was a bitch. But now it's safe. But because I think, because they're encouraging, because they're doing trends that are encouraging a tri lane, it makes it so that bounty rune is like, it's got the name, it's got that team's name on it during the laning phase. I feel like I glossed over this, but the EXP range being increased from 1300 to 1500 is actually fucking huge.
It's a big change.
It's a buff to the offline.
I was gonna say it's a big change, but I don't know if it's enough to offset the fact that you're just getting so little now out of the offlane, anyways. That I don't know.
I'm trying to think of how this works, because I think it helps heroes like a Beastmaster, for example, or another hero like heroes like Sniper. Oh god, I think offlane Sniper might be a big deal. Like might be a thing now, because he can stay so far back, and if he prioritizes take aim, he's pretty safe. And heroes that naturally, like offlane Lina, heroes that naturally have a very long attack range or have high movement speed, as long as you're anywhere near that creep wave, you're going to get experience. So it might put those heroes in the offlane, but it feels like they're putting a heavy focus on offlaners that are designed for it, and offlaners that offlaners are focused much more all around the lane, which is worse for them because there's no Iron Talon.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like they didn't nerf jungling with a lot of they nerfed it indirectly with the Iron Talon, but I guarantee you the reason Iron Talon doesn't exist is because it created so many non-traditional offlaners.
I think right now the reason, or not right now, but like when it got removed initially, it was for the reasons that it didn't have a place, and it was a very underpowered item. But then I think that moving into the future, like if they tried to keep the item around, it would have that effect where it's like we can't have this item in the game without just having a very awkward spot where it's either too good or too bad. Like it just either A, opens a lot of opportunities for heroes to just go into the jungle if their lane is failing and come back. Or B, it just does nothing, and that was I think where it was.
I think it was fine. I think if they needed to nerf it, you had a couple points in cooldown, or make it so the cooldowns increased as game time increased, and all these a change like that sounds absurd, but would work balancing the game. They would do it, guys. It's not like it would break the principles of Dota. They're starting to do things that are very much. There's a lot of things that I think for the first few years of the game we thought were unacceptable, like talents, for example, that ultimately made the game more fun and more interesting. I think the talents are cool. I think most people do you like, if you could remove the talents now, would you?
No, I like the talents.
Yeah, I think, and they made us more low-like, or maybe seeming more casual, or more just different from what we used to be, but we're not a fucking Warcraft 3 custom map. We are the largest esports in the world, and we do whatever the fuck we want. So if they want to balance the game by making it so an item's cooldown increases over the course of the game, that's fine. Or charge-based? Charge-based? I wish they still had Iron Talon, because it lets me do those non-traditional jungling guides, but I'm not too worried about it in terms of overall jungles, but I think they just took it out because of that offline thing. I think it just I think the problem with it was you could buy it from the start and then just be like, I have this, I'm not even going to try to offline. I'm going to basically jungle those camps as soon as I see what I'm going to go there, and if they set up the safe lane in a way I'm afraid of, that's their safe lane farmer, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to offline. Maps change. I don't want to talk about the map changes too much, because you kind of have to look at them. I can bring it up on I'm going to bring it up on the stream real quick. Where is Dota? Where is my Dota? Oh, it's this one. Whoops, I forgot I did that. I made the Dota really, really big so I could zoom in on the thumbnails earlier. Sorry about this, y'all. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to gloss over a couple of ramp changes, and one change that I think that's pretty big for the Dire jungle, maybe not in competitive games, but I think it's huge in pubs because it will affect the way that you jungle casually, essentially. So on the stream, and you won't see it for a sec because of the delay. So this is basically the same, but they swapped. They put the shrine. They put this shrine here in the Radiant Jungle, and then they put this shrine here, which I think is actually imbalanced. I think Dire just got nerfed pretty big by the shrine placements. So the Dire shrine for the safe lane is, and they're trying to make it so safe lane has less shit coming from the jungle, less camps to pull, less shrine, which I agree with. They're trying to make the safe lane a 1v1 high intensity skill fight, which I like. I like that. But they put the shrine in the middle of the Dire jungle, like in the space between the medium and hard camp, and it's on low ground. There's a you got to be kind of close, but there's a lot of high ground around you that you can't see up.
Can you show the bounty? Can you show the bounty rune location for Dire safe lane? Because I'm kind of confused as to where they put that.
They restructured the map over there.
Yeah, but I just mean like there wasn't.
I'm there right now. If you have
there's like a super it's a super hard delay. I wonder if maybe I need to refresh your stream. But like, no, for Dire safe lane I can't tell if. Oh, okay. Damn, that is a huge change to the map.
Yeah, like.
Oh boys.
Can I zoom out? Not an observer. I'm only in observer mode, I think. Can you zoom out when you're not in observer mode?
When you're not in observer mode? No.
Okay.
Like if you're just playing, playing the game, so no.
Okay. So
yeah,
that's
I really need
that's
to play.
also kind of low groundy, but so is Radiance. Like Radiant is over here. If you're still watching the stream, they added this crystal thing right here, which is basically just an object that blocks shit. I have no idea why that's there. I think it's because of the rocks over here on the Dire side to make it more symmetrical. And I like the game being asymmetrical, but I think this is a good change because there's certain things that if you make them asymmetrical, they're too good or too bad. But the rune on the Radiant side, wow. I think the distance on the Radiant safe and the Dire safe and the Radiant offlane distance is noticeably farther than... Yeah, they're almost on the same screen. The distance between Radiant safe lane and Dire's offlane is much shorter in terms of where the runes are than it is on the northern part of the map. You can grab both of those bounty runes really quickly, like way quick, because they put it where the shrine was. And then over at the Radiant, they're both pairs of runes are closer, but this one is farther. They also moved up the position. Wow, they said slightly. It was like down here before, I think. They moved up the position of the bottom rune, so now I still think the top one is closer, slightly. But before it was like you go check top rune, and then I don't even want to go to the bottom rune. Like you know what I'm saying? Like the bottom rune was like you always check the top first because it was closer. Would you agree?
It's hard for me to agree or disagree just because I mean, and I hate to say it like this, but you have the privilege, I guess, of having the test kind of downloaded. Since I don't, it's really.
Are you can you see me in the stream?
Yeah, I can see you in the stream, but it's like I can't interact with it. You know what I mean? I'm just like kind of inferring it from yours. It's hard for me to see the bigger picture. I'd agree with what you said prior, like about like how the game was previous to this, but in its current state, like it's hard for me to infer any sort of change.
I mean, what I mean is, do you agree that like if you were mid before, you would check the top rune and then maybe not the bottom?
You're cutting out.
My voice is cutting out?
Yeah. You're good now, I think. What's up? What were you saying?
I was saying, would you agree that before you generally would check the top rune and then maybe check the bottom because it was so far?
Like I said, I agree with what you were saying there, but then what you were saying about how to infer that from like how it goes from then to now. Like,
oh, okay. I mean, yeah, it might not.
It's really hard for me to speculate.
Yeah, I don't know, but I will say it is noticeably closer. They're not equidistant, I don't think, but it brings it closer. It's you're more likely to care about the bottom power-up rune, which is what they're calling them now. They also made it so the Radiant camp, the Radiant medium and hard camps closest to mid have swapped positions, and the what used to be the Radiant medium camp is no longer cliff jungleable. They got rid of that cliff, which nerfs the jungle, but it's overall a good change because maybe it's not a good change because it buffs Radiant, but it buffs the camp overall for traditional junglers because it's level ground again. So if you walk down the ramp, the medium camp, both of the camps closest to the middle lane on Radiant are on level ground, so you can't just fucking jump in and grab somebody. Like, you know how there was kind of a pit you had to walk into?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's level ground now. And I don't think Dire... I think the reason they did that is because Dire doesn't have one of those. And now it does. Or now Radiant doesn't have one either. Also, a big thing is you can now cliff jungle on Dire, like, hardcore. Like, Dire is now the better jungling spot for non-traditional junglers because there's a medium camp and maybe a hard camp. I think it's 2 mediums. Did they add a camp? Did they add a camp to the jungle?
No, they definitely didn't add a camp, but they just spread them out, so maybe it looks like there's more.
No, it's their small camp. They made it so you can cliff jungle the small camp and the medium at the same time if you want.
I got thrown off by that too. What I wouldn't be surprised is if like you start making all your jungle guides now on the Dire side, just because it's so much safer, you know, like to jungle on the Dire side.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, could you repeat the whole comment?
I wouldn't be surprised if you start making all of your jungle guides now on the Dire side, just because it's so much.
My initial pass through will probably be on the Dire side because it's safer now. I will probably I'll probably do that. I'll probably start with the Dire because it's easier. You're also close to the safe lane now, so because they structured this out before, if you were going for, like, sometimes you'd be going down to this hard camp and you get picked, but because the small camp is down here, if you have a jungler that's cliff jungling this camp and you cleared some of these trees, you can warn your safe lane or ping out that there's an enemy hero with the small camp. You can actually point that out. If you have an offlaner that can jungle, like an offlaner that kills neutrals quickly anyway, like a Beastmaster, he can come in and clean up your small camp. And if you have someone cliff jungling the medium camp right here, if assuming it's still medium, he can ping that out and say, "Look, man, someone's killing the small camp."
Yeah.
However, this camp, do I have WTF turned on here? Let me check some things out. I'm gonna get a blink dagger, and
if you could find like an Enigma, could like midnight pulse that huge creep wave and that huge. He could midnight pulse that entire tree wave, like all those trees, and just plop a ward right up there, and that'd be a good ward spot, I think. Be a great ward spot. There's some heroes that I can think of that can cut all those trees down, place a ward there, and I mean it'd be the most obvious ward in the world because you cut all those trees down. But if it stays, like that's a great ward spot. It's a lot of vision.
Well, if you have a ward up here, a ward would reveal all this, wouldn't it? Like even if the trees grew back, would you have vision? If the trees are on ground lower than you?
Yeah. So those trees, I mean it depends, but yeah, I do think they still block. I don't know. You can give yourself a ward.
I'm testing it right now on the client. Because this is actually a pretty big deal, specifically with jungling, because if that works, then you now buy a ward there, and this is actually a kind of useful ward. Yeah, no, it doesn't show shit. You got to Enigma it.
Gotta chop all those trees down. Yeah. Timber saw it or something.
Interesting.
I like how you're playing Pangolier.
I mean, I just like, it's a new hero, I'll pick it, just fun.
Yeah.
Alright, I think that's enough for the... Are we good with the map changes?
We're good with the map changes, man.
Roche now drops a single-use consumable refresher orb on third Roche. Is this the third Roche? I'll actually test this right now, I think, if I can. If the spawn creep spawn Roche?
No.
Is there a cheat for that?
I think spawn Roche does, though. You can spawn a Roche.
Level up 25. I'm gonna turn us back on so that you can see our beautiful faces while we talk. But I'm gonna test this guy real quick. Swashbuckle damage. Roche is affected by this, right? Excuse my key bashing. It's actually hard to spam when it has no cooldown because you have to aim it.
Yeah. Are you trying to cut all the trees down?
No, I'm doing Roche.
Oh, well. It's not showing, by the way, on your screen.
I know, I changed it back to the overlay.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably knew that.
Is there a cheat to instantly kill things?
You give yourself 5 divines.
Not a bad idea. I mean, I moved by the secret ship anyway. So, what's next on the list? What's right below that? If you can see it.
What? Oh, you want me to?
Yeah,
it?
just pick the next topic while I go over the. Wait, can you sell that TP at the start?
No. Wait.
I just sold a stack of TPs.
I don't actually.
And
know.
it had one of them in there.
I'm not actually sure as to whether or not you can sell that one. I was thinking about the mango, and I just assumed no.
I think I think you can, but only the biggest of fucking assholes are gonna do that shit.
The things I wanted to look over next were the respawn timer being rescaled at earlier levels to mean a lot, like to be a little bit less time spent dead. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a small change. And then the big one, probably the bigger one, is neutral creeps actually sleeping in. I wanted to know your opinions on that.
So I need to figure out the cheat. Dota 2 cheat spawn Roche. What is it? So I don't really have a strong opinion about the creep. I think it's really, really, really cool just because it brings us back to what we were. Dota 2,
like way back.
Yeah, Dota 2 hero or Dota 2 cheat list. I really like that little. I mean, everyone remembers that meme video of Ogre where Ogre could just like.
What could he do? Sit with the creeps.
Yeah, everyone's seen that video. You know what I'm talking about, where he just.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Wait.
I mean, you know that's not going to be able to because Ogre has his own distinction.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know you can't, but that's a piece of our history that, in my opinion, it doesn't affect shit. Except
I don't
for
know if it does though.
You can deny. It makes denying yourself easier. Yeah, I just gotta wait for Roche to spawn again.
Why?
It makes denying yourself harder. Is what I meant to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say
because you have to you have to get an attack animation off to wake them up, or do a spell.
And then they also have to land an attack animation on you.
Yeah, so you actually it's almost like the difference between picking up a rune and denying it. So denying yourself to neutrals is way more clutch than it was before.
Yeah, I would agree.
So respawn time for levels 1 through 5 rescaled. I love it.
To be clear, are you thinking of every way that change affects the game?
No, I'm only thinking about the jungle and the fact that you want to deny yourself.
Well, it'll still take you 26 seconds no matter what. Remember?
Wait, why?
Because if you deny yourself to neutral creeps, it always takes you 20 seconds, 26 seconds.
Is that the absolute minimum baseline? Is it 26 seconds at all?
So if you die, now listen, if you die to heroes or if you die because you deny yourself, it's different. But if you die to neutral creeps, it takes 26 seconds no matter what.
Really?
Yeah, they made that change a little while back to prevent supports from denying themselves
No,
constantly.
I remember them doing that, but I didn't know it was a fixed number. I thought that value scaled. Okay.
No.
I thought they just increased I thought they increased it at every level. Like I noticed it, but that's still not that bad. That's not that bad though. The 26 seconds is still not very bad. Like I haven't even been denying myself because by the time you want to deny yourself, you've got some time under your belt. But if you deny yourself at like level 5 in the jungle, 26 seconds isn't that long, especially because we're back to, well, it's kind of a long time because they spawn every minute. But back in the patch where they spawned every 2 minutes, that'd be a good plan because you're not going to miss any spawns or like. Anyway, the hero respawn timer, what lay it into me. I'm not bagging what you're raking. Tell me what's going on.
Okay, so okay, and again, follow me on this because this is a little bit hard to understand, but I think it's legitimately like worth, right, at the start of the game as an offlaner, say a tanky offlaner like Bristleback, to just walk into the lane and just almost pseudo suicide, give the enemy first blood and just like die right then and there at level 1. Because you're going to give them less EXP because of the change that we went over earlier, where earlier game kills grant less EXP. I think we went over that change. Base hero kill bounty. It's way above there. It's base hero kill EXP bounty has been reduced significantly for levels 1 to 5, going from 100 at level 1 to 30. You gain 30 EXP.
Yeah. I skipped over half, like a good chunk of that. This
Fair
section.
enough.
Oh, one more thing from this section that I meant to touch on is, so they increased the amount of wave EXP from 210 to 240, which I think is really cool because that way if something happens and you miss one, you'll still hit your level 2 really quickly in a duel lane, and it makes it so the offlaner who's getting punished by the new deny mechanic is like it hurts a little bit less. But the big difference here is that this is a direct nerf to Lich. Because
the range creep.
Yeah, because the range creep it's less spread out. Also because they increased the range creep. It's also a huge nerf to Midas. It's a huge fucking nerf to Midas.
That's what I was thinking about, was how this is a nerf to Midas. That's the first thing I thought about. I didn't think about Lich though. That's a good point.
So, base hero kill EXP bounty, non-assist. Oh, I did read this earlier, but I misinterpreted it. I thought they changed it all the way up. They did change it all the way up, but I forget how. For assist bounties, is it here? I don't want to miss it. Base hero experience bounty for level 1 to 5 has been reduced from 100, 120, 140, 160, 180 to whoa. Oh my god. Yeah, at level 3, just
At level 1, you walk into the lane and you just like tactically feed.
First blood doesn't mean fucking I would like to see first blood. First blood wasn't affected. I don't think first blood was affected. So, I would like to see first blood be doubled for this, because you're not going to get any experience. And honestly, no, I would have rather seen experience granted for kills between levels 1 and 5. I would have liked to seen that double, because you're going to catch up in experience anyway, because of the way the rubber band heavily favors experience over money. So, wow, yeah. So please continue on this.
Yeah, so basically, you walk into the lane, you die, but you do it all for the sake of trying to get the enemy to push while they're killing you, because oftentimes when the enemy is killing you, they're diving themselves. And hopefully their lane pushes, so you get to instantly TP back into your lane because you get that free TP at the start of the game. You instantly TP back, and you soak 2 free levels, and then you're level 3. And hopefully you can do something with that as an offlaner. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. Because it's so hard, right? Like, to just sit in lane and just kind of take the beating, so to speak, of the EXP.
I'll tell you what I like about it the most.
Okay.
Fucking favoring farming. Farming,
Yeah.
And this was something this was like my biggest wish list, and it's not even like a jungle thing. it fucking sucks to be a guy that has played the game for a really long time and has decent mechanics with CS, at least to the point where I can get most of my last hits. And all the time, BSJ is like a fucking hour-long video where he only talks about how stupid it is for a safe lane farmer to kill an off lane early in the game when he could just get him low and then farm. Even if you get him low and then he salves, by the time you walk away from the wave and walk back to the wave, you've wasted more money than you would have gained by killing him. And with a lot of offlaners, especially if it's like a support offlane, you don't really give a fuck about what his farm is. So, I don't know. I really like this. I like anything that encourages farming, and this definitely does, at least at those levels. But it also makes it so, because the experience bounty is lower, and because that cooldown timer is reduced, like, it's not that big of a reduction, but it's level 1, level 2 is pretty big, like 10 seconds or 12 seconds at level 3, 12 seconds compared to 9, or 7 compared to 10, 8 compared to 5. I mean, wait a minute. There might be situations. This is probably related to the fact that jungle creeps spawn at 1 minute now. Because otherwise you could make a stack with a hero that had an AoE, burn all your mana, go deny yourself to the enemy mid, and the experience that you give him, or go spawn, go fight at the enemy mid, and deny yourself. Actually, it's hard because a lot of the times if you get killed by a creep, it'll attribute it to the hero. But denying yourself to an enemy tower early in the game is actually a legitimate strategy if you can get there quick enough. Potentially. I don't know. I think about things from the window of the jungle, as you know. So.
Yeah, no, and that's understandable. I mean, that's.
But it's absolutely worth now. This is a big buff to offlaners that are designed to offlane. Tidehunter, Bristleback, Axe, Timbersaw. Walk in, burn all your mana, burn all the enemy carries, regen off, die, TP
just
back.
Just fucking die.
Die, TP back, and then he has to be careful, because if he dies, that hurts him way more than it helps you, and that means that he can't farm.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty fucking big buff to the offlane. But I think it follows the trend of offlaners now doing offlane things, like traditional offlaners. I'm gonna kill Roach for the second time. Interestingly enough, and I don't know how I feel about this, Swashbuckle doesn't scale.
Like at all.
Yeah, I would really prefer to see this ability. I need to start using quick cast. Whoa, what the fuck? I'm almost dead. Yeah, Swashbuckle doesn't fucking stack at all. That's fucking annoying. Neutral aggro. What do you think about the aggro changes?
What do you mean?
So they now all pull the same. So the neutral lane creep aggro. Different creeps have different aggro behavior depending on which lane they're in.
Yeah, admittedly, I didn't understand that change either.
I do, and it's just because of the fact that I live in the jungle. Certain creeps will kind of follow you for longer periods of time, I believe is what was going on there.
Yeah.
And so
depending on which way you were trying to pull them, or what?
No, like hold on. So neutrals. Sorry, opposite of what I just said. So neutral creeps back in the day all acted the same, or like specific creeps acted the same. So you'd never see X hero doing something that looked like Y hero did it, or Y creep did it. So to give a coherent example, if I attacked let's say like a centaur, he would always follow me for the exact same period of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, if I attacked a centaur at X camp, he would always follow me, or if I attacked X creep in any camp, he would follow me for the same period of time. Now, how far they aggro you and how easily they aggro you varies from camp to camp. So, the way that neutral's lane creep aggro is now based on which neutral spawn they're in. So, this means that the way that neutrals... They're being vague with this, so I'm going to test this in the client really quickly. But I'm almost positive this means that lane creeps... about to hit it, 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 about to hit it. Come on, 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 come on. Will it work? It looks like...
They care about the direction that you're coming from.
Or the turn rate is instantaneous on the sprint ability, the dash thing with the new hero Pangolin. So that's an interesting one. I like the change, specifically because mid should not be able to pull with a camp if the other mid can't. Like Radiant used to be able to do pulls if you really timed it right. It was gimmicky because it didn't always work, and you had to know what you were doing, and you had to practice it, and even then it was a little bit camp dependent. Now you can't fucking pull creeps to your mid lane, and I never thought you should be able to do that on mid if you can't do it on Dire. Illusions now deal 80% less damage to Roche rather than dying instantly. That's big.
Yeah.
I think that's
huge. It's a big buff to PL. He can actually like justify taking Roche now. Not taking it, sorry. He always justified the Aegis, but yeah. Well, yeah, he provides something, which is the big thing.
Yeah.
He does something.
Illusions now benefit from mana and health regen. I'm fine with that. I'm actually going to search Roshan because they seem to have mixed up everything. So armor on Roshan, oh, it's the same. But remove the following ward spots. Roshan third kill. Roshan's slam damage was increased, which is under illusions. But maybe it's only for illusions Roshan's slam damage is increased. Roshan now upgrades every minute rather than every 4 minutes. Bonus is scaled so it's the same, just smoother. Fuck that.
You don't like that?
No, it makes it harder. It means if you go kill Roche at 7 minutes, it's harder than killing him before.
I see.
I just wanted Roche... Okay, so it kind of... They did something at least with adding in the new item for him, but...
Yeah.
I really wanted Roche to be like cool to kill in the early game, and you can't do that still.
Yeah.
Captain's mode now has an extra ban. I love that. Kind of. That? I kind of love it, kind of hate it. So I would have preferred to have 3 bans before last pick than 3 bans in the start. Because if there's a hero that's just blatantly broken, or a hero that a team is famous for playing, then they're gone. Like, they're totally gone. People like Bulldog as the archetype of this, that are that are arguably the best in the world at more than one hero, but can't play more than 5 or 6 at all at near the same level, they get hit hardest by this.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of cool, though, because let's say someone is the best player in the world at 4 heroes. Now, not only can you not ban all of the heroes that he's the best in the world at, whatever one you're not going to ban, he can straight up draft it. He can ban accordingly. So it's beneficial to the team worried about getting banned, too, because if you think if there's a couple of heroes that are really strong, or that you have a player that are really good with, like 2 that just outstanding, and they're countered by the same shit, or at least a couple overlaps, you can ban around that as well. it also means, I think the biggest change here is that people like Puppy and PPD are really gonna go crazy next level with this, because it means I'm drafting for strategy, not a lineup.
Yeah.
And this benefits that immensely, because now you can just block out all the heroes that are good against your push lineup or whatever.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. People that...
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you said pretty much everything that I was thinking about it was one-trick heroes. No, one-trick heroes. One-trick ponies are a lot less, not a lot less, but one ban worth specifically less powerful, I guess. And people that are more concerned with just the strategy of Dota and can play most heroes at a considerably decent level, but think more so about how the game should be played, get rewarded by changes like that. You know? Favors captain's move in a way that...
I think I don't like it because of I don't like it for the same reasons I don't like... The things I don't like about it are the same reasons I don't like about having bans in all pick. And I feel like all pick is... Right now, it's essentially captain's mode where everyone's a captain. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I think they took it a little bit too far, but I think that's cool to have that for ranked. Unranked, I think, is going to be exclusively turbo, or at least I hope it is. Because, is that same ban system being put in unranked all pick? I know that there were bans in unranked all pick, but are there multiple bans? Are there multiple banning stages in unranked all pick still? Or was that added?
I'm actually not entirely sure how they're doing that.
I mean, currently, if you play unranked all pick, I know that there's the initial ban, but then are there picks and bans again, like it is in captain's mode, or like it is in like in ranked all pick right now? There's multiple. Oh, it's the drafting order. Is there a draft order in unranked all pick? Do you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Unranked has a drafting order.
Yeah, and it has bans too.
I know it has bans. I didn't know it had a draft order.
It's pretty cancerous. It actually takes just as long to get into a game.
That's fucking cancer. Turbo mode's gonna be awesome.
Turbo mode, yeah. We'll probably fix. Yeah.
I'm only.
Well,
they're
you'll be playing.
I'm pretty much only. I'm not. I know I'm not gonna be good again. But as long as I have people were talking about adding an MMR for turbo mode, and that would just be my shit. As long as the heroes are balanced the same for both, so that you could make crazy exploits. I'm skipping the fountain changes because no one cares.
I mean, it's nice for fountain divers, for people that get fountain dived a lot. So basically, if you lose Kappa.
Yeah, and it's also better for Tinker because the mana regen.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good point. And just for heroes that go back to base in general, but yeah, for Tinker more specifically, yeah, because he goes back to base a lot. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Mana regen, so plus 14. So 2% of your mana, so because it says it was buffed. So 2%, if you have 1,000, that's 20. So 1,000 would beat it. I think it's like 800. It's like 600, 700. So pretty early in the game. By the time Tinker has his level 2 ult, he will be benefiting from this. I think you're getting to the point now where you actually put the ult, you actually get Tinker's ult at level 2. I never got that before until late in the game because of the mana cost.
Yeah,
I think you actually do that now.
People have been doing that for a little while. Not to spoil or not to rain on your parade, but people have been doing that for a little while. But yeah, this change helps that a little bit more.
I mean, I'm so out of the fucking meta. I just watch pro games, so.
Yeah, no, I understand. And Tinker's not necessarily like a hero that you should concern yourself with knowing too much about anyways, right? It's fucking Tinker.
I actually love Tinker, but I suck with him. I just go march the machines and take everyone else's farm and then lose.
Yeah. You're not in the minority, for sure.
Net worth ranking factor, how much... Yeah, but I'm proud of that with Tinker. I try not to do it with Furion. Net worth...
Oh, I see.
Ranking factor, how much the richest versus poorest gets from assist gold, has changed from 0.75 to 1.25 to 0.7 to 1.3. So it's like adding a greater rubber band effect, but this time for assists.
Wait, is that how that works?
Mm-hmm. Pretty sure. If you are the lowest ranking person in the game, if you are the lowest person in the game, there's greater. There's a greater range, so the max and the min are higher. The max and the min are farther apart.
Shit, yeah, you're right. Actually, I thought this just meant like spectator stuff, like how it's going to rank you on the net worth charts for spectating mode. But no, this actually influences the game itself. I missed that. Good job.
Yeah, no, I don't like it because I hate rubber bands.
Well, this will mostly only ever affect supports, right? But I guess yes, supports rubber banding is still kind of it's a problem.
It'll affect carries too because it's like if the carry's there and the support ends up getting the kill because it's a sysgold.
Yeah. If they're super far behind, but yeah. I was just thinking
it's a slight buff to the gold rubber banding mechanic, and I want the gold rubber band mechanic nerfed. I'd be okay with a tiny buff to the experience rubber band, but I don't want that buffed either. The rubber banding mechanics of this game are my least favorite change that have happened to it in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, if you minimize them, if you narrowed this range, or just made it 0.7 to, like, if you just made it heavier on one side, so like net worth ranking factor, if you made that like 0.7 to 1, I'd be happy with it, probably. I just don't like the rubber band at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it needed to be there, because otherwise... I mean, it didn't need to be there, but it needed a tiny buff, I think, because that way there's incentive. Like, that way you win a big fight and you come back. Now it feels like you're behind 10k, and you win one fight, and you're behind 3k, and you're same level. Maybe higher level. Because EXP rubber band's so crazy. Next change, actually, wait. Added UA indication of inventory to show mute. Added new option to require a stop to interrupt your channeling. Ooh, that's cool. I think that's more of a noob thing.
No, I think.
Yeah, actually, I'll probably do that because I don't want to fuck up.
I was gonna say yeah.
I usually hit stop. I use my S key a lot, so I use the stop hotkey a lot.
I do as well. I like that change as well. It's a nice change.
UAMs are gone. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Completely.
We've been waiting.
You
for
like
this
that?
Why the fuck wasn't this done? They've been moving in this direction forever, and they made it very clear that they were going to do it at some point. I don't know why they removed all but like one. Now I no longer have to remember. Ever.
Yeah. I mean, I agree that this should have been in the game a while ago, but at the same time, like...
Either all the UAMs or none of the UAMs. Like, it became so confusing to me because I'd be like... I would mix up the ones that were UAMs and weren't because they were taking out like 2 per patch.
Yeah.
I love
You're
this.
not alone.
I love this. I'm Huskar.
You're not alone.
I have lifesteal, and I have burning orbs, burning spears, and I have and I have Scotty. Like, it's Scotty might stack with Uv now. This is just good. I'm hype. Do you have anything else to add there? Anything that you think's potentially broken?
They actually... I shouldn't say it, though. I'm not going to say it. I can't say it. Because, they removed Scotty from needing Uv to build into. So I don't actually know, like, how that... I mean, I'm sure they do stack, but, like, at the same time...
Who gives a fuck?
You don't even... Huh? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Well, I just mean that... Yeah, I know it's a Uv, but I just mean, like, you don't even need a fuck. I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't even need an Uv anymore to build into a Scotty, so, like, I don't know. At that point in the game when you're... Well, no, you would have it because Uv used to build into Scotty.
I know, but it's like... The
you
funny
said
thing
that
is
you were
a lot
wondering
of
if...
I think it makes sense because, like, Uv was something that you got in the early game on some heroes. Yeah. Like, the idea was you get it early game, you use it for a very, very long time, or you put it into your backpack, then you build it to something else. But most of the Uv heroes don't build Scotty, right? Like, you build Scotty mostly for the stats. The slow's great and all, but the Scotty's basically just like... The slow is a wonderful passive, don't get me wrong, but the Scotty's the item that I always looked at and was like, that's a shitload of everything. And that's why, like, that's why TB gets it. He loves the slow, but he loves the stats. Like, and yeah, I don't know. I think that's cool. I feel like there's a lot of broken combos we're not thinking about here. Does anyone do minus? Who's got a minus armor, a stacking minus armor right click?
A stacking minus armor right click? What do you ref? Yeah, I guess I'm a little confused as to what you mean by that.
Does anyone have a passive ability that makes it so you remove armor?
TA? Is that what you mean?
TA has one. I'm trying to think if anyone has like a higher attack speed hero that does. I don't know. Other changes: removed cliffing restrictions for I didn't read this before. I like this. I like this a lot. I like it a lot. What do you think?
Which is mana break, or sorry, no.
No,
sorry,
I've skipped. I skipped past UAMs unless you want more.
Sorry. No, sorry. You meant the removing the cliff restrictions on
yes,
like
you
Rubik.
can fucking cliff bitches now.
I mean, I always thought you could. There's like
No.
videos of Rubik.
Yeah, but it's
and
really
even in the most
but you have to work. You have to. It's really hard to do. The game is designed to prevent you from doing that. You'd have to
prevent you from doing it?
They're like you'd have to hit it like a specific pixel. Now it's
And then-
like just fuck it, throw them up there. I've got the client open, so I'll take a look.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I could have sworn Rubik's have been doing.
I'm at 40 minutes and there are creeps attacking my tier 4 in a lane that no one's been to.
Lol.
Turbo.
Turboed.
Yeah. I need the game to last long enough for me to kill Roche a 4th time.
You need the patch, dude.
What?
I said you need the patch, dude.
Let me
That
see.
goes without saying.
I got the refresher orb. Buy cheese. Because I really want to know. It doesn't make any sense to me if, like, it doesn't make any sense to me if it only drops on the 3rd and not after. But so, heroes with turn. What's the deal with the turn rates?
With the what?
Wait, Roshan now upgrades
The turn rate?
for
Talking about the turn rate?
Yeah, but let me read if there's anything I'm skipping that's important. Fix magic damage sources from attacks not being blocked by barriers. Improve stat count reliability. Readability on buff icons. Okay, yeah. Removed Pudge and Venge's free pathing on terrain cliffs. What was
Yeah,
that?
so
What does
more
that mean?
you can hook people easier when you get a blink dagger on Pudge, or on Vengeful Spirit you can cliff people a lot easier. It's the same, it's basically.
Ooh.
Yeah. They made it for a while. So here's like a brief history lesson. For a while there, they weren't even able to buy Blink Dagger because they were afraid of that abuse.
Yeah,
Then
I
they
remember that.
enabled. Then they enabled it, but then they made it so that this change was in play, so that you can buy a Blink Dagger on Pudge, which was a good item, but you can't buy it and cliff people a fuck ton, which was why they removed it.
Mhm.
And now they just added this back in. So I don't know. See how broken this is, if this is even broken.
It won't
If it
be
was ever-
broken, but it will make for funny moments, like really cool moments, and
Uh-huh.
it'll be it'll be that 1 in a million game that's like really annoying for a pub player. But to see it in
Yeah.
a pro game would be awesome.
I'd agree. I'd be inclined to agree.
They took our fucking. I mean, we're not going to see it every game, but it should be a concern. The bounty runes are in positions where it's very hard to cliff you now, so it's not going to happen at level 1. And actually, I'm going to look over at the. Yeah, there's no real place to cliff you around the bounty runes.
So people don't really, if you've noticed, people don't really pick up Pudge or Venge in pro games. So I think it's gonna be hard for us to even really ever see this happening because we won't see the heroes.
The Rubik.
Yeah, I've seen a lot less Rubik too, and you'll see this later on. He gets kind of nerfed or buffed. Sorry for I think that reason.
Darkseer.
Darkseer, yeah, potentially. but
Darkseer's a big one. Darkseer's always good. Did they add another second to his vacuum CD?
that's a funny meme, but no.
Thank God.
Why? They have to nerf him every patch though, right, Kappa?
Yeah.
They changed his talents. I'm not trying to spoil too much though.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
get
that,
there. So turn rates. Give me the turn rates.
they're right there. So so the turn rate. Here's
Why
some
did they do
clarification. So I think they did this for Batrider. Batrider, too strong of a hero last patch, and I think this is somewhat of a change to kind of nerf him in some ways. A lot of these heroes, you'll notice, like Batrider's. I mean, just in the nature of having a bad turn rate in and of itself, like Bat is kind of good against you, just because you struggle a lot to turn around when he's like fire flying on top of you, and you have to turn around to try to hit him if he's all ending on you, and you want to try to trade a kill. He prevents that a lot. I don't know. This isn't just Batrider specific, but I'm just saying that like that is one potential reason why they did this. One of the bigger reasons, though, I think, is just because turn rates are fun. Like it's not fun
That's
turning
true.
your hero. Some of these heroes are balanced in that way, though. Puck
Yeah,
having
Puck
such a shitty.
is. Yeah, I was looking at this trying to figure. figuring a couple of those. Venno is huge. Landing Gale?
Yeah, but they nerfed Venno a lot. Like, don't worry, Venno.
I know.
This very small buff in his turn rate does not compensate for that. But yeah, you are correct. Like some of these heroes, Clinks, for instance, Enchantress, Mirana. Let's see.
Enchantress is big. Mirana's big.
Didn't even know Spectre had a shitty turn rate. Spiritbreaker, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of these heroes I didn't know how to. Wraith King, I think that's cool. Wraith King is going to be my first jungling guide, guys. Maybe if it's not one of the new heroes. It actually will. The first jungling guide will be Wraith King, because if all goes as planned, I will be pumping out a jungling guide for him that will be released tomorrow. We'll probably get 2 new videos tomorrow, because I have one ready to go on the turbo mode and an overview of it, and then you guys will also get I want to do a Halloween special, because he's got spooky again.
Spooky ooky.
Spooky scary. Okay, so you can now see enemy mana regen values.
Yep.
I didn't even know I could see HP regen, so
I think it's a very small change, personally.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. Regen rune changed. That's 6 times. Wow. That's actually a pretty significant nerf to the rune early on. Because if you have 1,000 hit points, that means you have 60 HP regen. So that's a pretty huge. That's a huge nerf to regen runes early in the game. I don't think that's really. I don't know. What's your opinion? How good do you think regen rune was early on in the game? Like, it's not. It's not the best rune, like, by far.
It situationally is very good, right? Sometimes you get a regen rune.
Dive if you have an escape, you can dive, blink out, and then like do shit like that. Just burn all your mana. But sorry, I shouldn't talk when I ask you a question.
No. Okay, so as a quick side note, right? This change definitely helps regen rune scale into the later stages of the game. Because sometimes you're like Storm Spirit, you pick up a regen rune, and you're like, am I even gonna feel this? You know? A
2,000 hit point Storm Spirit now wants that regen rune more than anything, because at 2,000...
Not his hit points, we're talking about his mana, right?
Yeah, but at 2,000, that means his mana is 67 times 2 is... That'd be 112... 100... You would have 2,132 mana regen per second if you have 2,000 mana total, and before it would be 67.
Yeah.
So that is fucking nuts for a storm.
So okay, let me just whip out the calculator here, actually, because you actually raised a pretty good calculation. So 2,000, right? For 2,000 to even be 0.06, it'd be 120.
Storm's ulti numbers.
Well, I don't even care about that. I'm just looking at, like, if you're at 0 mana, right? So it's 6% of your max HP and max mana. If you are at 0 mana, right? Not 0 mana, sorry. If you pop a regen rune, you will gain, with a 2,000 mana pool, like if your mana pool is 2,000, you will gain 120 mana per second. This is up from 60. You're at 2,000 mana?
If you have 2,000, hold on.
If you have 2,000 even. 2,000 even.
0.06. Is it 120? But no, it's 0.67 though. 0.67.
Why is it 0.67?
Because it's. You're right. I was comparing it to the 67.
You're reading wrong.
I was comparing it to 67. But yeah, it's 120 compared to 67, so it's double.
So think about that's double. Right? Yeah, that's double the mana region. But that's okay. But again, that's huge on specifically just Storm Spirit. I'm not saying Storm's the only person that benefits from this. I'm not even really saying that this is a huge buff to regen runes in general. I'm just saying it helps the
makes
the
it
rune
cool in the late game. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you more enticed to pick up to keep your bottle, because on specifically Storm Spirit, it's always nice to get a regen rune. It's a big, like, getting a regen rune on Storm Spirit is effectively like getting a 2,000 or 3,000 gold item.
Okay, so
it's a big item, having a regen rune popped on you.
The mana cost per 100 units is per 12 plus a 1/7 of a percentage of your total per 100 units. A Storm Spirit can go from fountain to fountain off a regen rune now, I think, without any significant items, as long as you have like 2,000 mana.
Yeah, I kind of want to see it actually. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually the case. I just know that like.
Okay, my game just ended before I could kill Roche a fourth time. God damn it.
I just know that like changes like these are very, very good for certain niche heroes that can take full advantage of the rune, and that's kind of what I'm most curious to see is. Because they've already made changes to the game to make runes more, I guess, more effective in the late game, picking them up, holding onto your bottles and shit.
Mm-hmm.
The things like the double rune spawn after 45 minutes, that was a really big buff to runes, as weird as that sounds, because it made it so that you always have that chance of getting, or it made it, because you always used to have that chance of just picking up a DD rune as a core and going into fight if your enemy has no way of purging it, right? And then with that change, they effectively doubled your odds of getting that rune. So it's easier to get that kind of rune. You know what I mean? Same thing with like an illusion rune. Like you can pick up illusion rune on some heroes and then just like metamorphosis, right? Like on TB. TB is a very niche example. Like TB double rune spawn, he has more chances of getting an illusion rune.
And he has more chances of getting an arcane and a DD.
Yeah. I think he really likes illusion runes though. To TB, an illusion rune is like a DD rune, you know what I mean? Like you pick up an illusion rune on Terrorblade and you're like, wow, like this is the fucking shit. But
have you read about Storm Spirit's changes? So there's nothing too crazy, but at level 25, every 500 distance that he travels gives him ball lightning.
I don't actually think that's good, if I'm honest.
I think it's okay.
I mean, I don't. Well, sorry. I just think that compared to the Overload piercing spell immunity, like an Ag Storm Spirit can be a black holing enigma. You know, think about that.
Oh, how do I turn off a cheat? Do you know?
Huh? It depends on what cheat.
WTF.
No, but think about that, because you know what Storm's Axe does, right?
No, I don't actually.
Storm Spirit's Axe gives him basically
AOE Electric Vortex.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? I think I remember.
Oh yeah, that's Overload pierces spell immunity, not Vortex, which is also good too, because Overload is one of the big reasons why House Storm carries is he gets Overload procs and he gets a bunch of damage and stuff. And so Overload.
Yeah, but you're not like.
He doesn't care as much about BKBs. That's the thing.
But he does though, because you can't lock him down.
Yeah. I don't know too much about Storm actually. I'm not going to pretend.
Yeah, I'm not a Storm player either. I just think.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. So.
I think the hero's cancerous as shit, and I negatively judge everybody who plays that hero. But that being said, I don't really play him too much myself, so I can't really.
Wait a minute. I think, does it count? It looks... For a second there, I thought it counted how much you moved. And, like, made a total tally and when you broke 500. But that's not the case. Okay. So, do you know how to turn off WTF? The cheat?
Un-WTF, or...
Dash un-WTF?
Or is it... yeah, I think so.
Yep, you're right. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go find a regen rune and see... Hopefully my game won't end this time. Supposedly I had turbo off too. So it looks like the creeps kill each other way fucking faster than before.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's cool.
It's wild. Is that cool?
I wish I'd checked the hit points to be sure, but I think it's cool. I don't know. I'm all for things that make faster games in general, but we have turbo now. So
yeah,
we'll
I guess because you like turbo.
We'll get back to that. Is there a spawn rune sheet?
Yes, there's.
Do you know what it is?
Not off the top of my head. Spawn runes, maybe. I think it's actually just spawn runes.
Spawn. Let's see if you're right. Cheats. Control. Dash spawn rune. Look at you. Spawn rune. Spawn rune. Oh, I got a trash
Sometimes the most direct approach is the most correct.
It took me forever to figure out level up the other day. Paste. Alright, got a regen. We about to be lull now, boys.
It's gonna sound really like a dick move, but I actually do have to go in 8 minutes.
Okay. Do you want to continue to go over the other half of them tomorrow?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Fuck, I need to wait to burn mana. I'm gonna burn myself down to a good point of my mana.
I just realized we skipped so much. We skipped over all the items, or we're not actually skipping.
We haven't gotten anywhere.
We're
That's why I'm saying
still,
we got to do a part
yeah,
2.
I was just gonna say though that like I was highlighting on Storm Spirit because we were talking about him, and I didn't realize that we didn't actually get to that.
It's not that good.
Yeah.
The regen rune. Oh, I don't have. I don't have any items.
Did you? I was gonna say you got to give your Storm Spirit 2,000 mana first, and then feel the burn.
Yeah, let me see. What's the fastest way to get 2,000 mana? Just by
bunch of bloodstones.
So what's going on at 5?
Oh, it's 5 for you, I guess. It's 4 a.m. for me. I just gotta go to sleep because I got class in 5 hours.
My bad.
Yeah, no, it's not your fault. I chose to stay up this late.
Yeah, it won't let you sell the initial TP. Thank God, because you'd have that fucking
Yeah, I
dick.
think that's good. I was gonna say that's a good thing. I don't want you to be able to sell a TP at the start of the game that Valve gives you just to buy some fucking branch or some shit.
Yeah. Dash spawn rune.
It's like Valve gave you that TP to use responsibly.
To stop being cancer. I kind of want to use the arcane, but spawn rune.
Part of me wishes the TPs were free, so like there's be no excuse when your allies just kind of ditch you and leave you.
Then we lull.
Then
that's how
right.
it works in LoL.
That would be too lowly. Well, LoL, they don't get free TPs unless it's like a summoner's.
Wait, can you stay for like an extra 10-15? Because I'd like you to go over to skip to the brood changes, and go over them if you can do that because people have been requesting it all night.
Wouldn't that be, well, yeah, I guess, but I wonder if that'd be like a better thing to have at the start of the next video, just so it's more accessible. I don't know though. It's up to you.
I mean, we can make a
well, we could.
The people, I'm more concerned with live viewers than people that watch it not live because they the real MVP.
That's fair. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Okay, that's fair.
And we typically get more like regardless of what our numbers look like, we typically get more people. Alright, so I'm going to get myself down. I am currently at 2400 max, and I'm by the Radiant Ancient. I'm going to wait until I'm going to get 1000 of my 2400. Actually, I'm going to use the pop of the regen now. And I am almost up to 2000 of my 2400. I am. And I made it to the tier 1 dire med. But I still have the effect on. And see how far I can get. Whoa! Yeah, you can continually ball lightning essentially. You can with a regen rune on him. I made it to the tier 1 dire mid from the Radiant Ancient, and with the regen on it, I could have. I mean, I went down to the bottom rune and then went to the center of the dire jungle. Alright, so I'm going to let you talk through this real quick. Are there any other changes that we should touch on before neutrals? By the way, all the neutral changes I'm going to do now because they're 1 second long. Neutral cloak armor, all the neutral changes are buffs to heroes that control or eat neutral. So it's mostly a Doom buff, but also a buff to Chen because Chen's been very weak. So Chen and Doom got huge buffs because pretty much all the cast points for all the neutral abilities except for one was reduced. Thunder Lizard Slam now has a 0.3 second cast point instead of 0. All of the
I think more importantly, the mana cost got reduced as well. That's a big thing,
only
right?
on a couple.
For
Thunderclap is
Doom?
a big
No.
one.
Warstomp is a big one.
For Doom, that's a big one.
Yeah, think about Doom.
Yeah. Yeah, Warstomp.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
That's a big dude. That's a big change. You skipped right over that bad boy, dude.
Doom
now gets a 75 mana, 2 second
50.
BKB piercing.
50.
Well, I'm talking about I'm talking about ensnare. If you get a Dark Troll.
Yep. You're right. Yeah.
DTS, DTW, whatever Dark Troll.
Yeah.
The net, dude. That's 75 mana. Doom can always afford that.
Dude, Harpy Storm Chain Lightning. Harpy Storm Chain Lightning is
the cast point reduction.
The Harpy Storm, the cast point reduction. It bounces 4 times and does 140 base magic damage. So
The only reason I hate that
Ooh.
creep, at least the only reason I hate that creep on Doom is because it's like hard to get and it costs a little bit of mana. It costs 50 mana every cast. The reason I hate it as Chen is because it does nothing for Chen. It puts you far behind.
it does.
Chen can't do anything.
You don't want
Yeah.
to use it. Actually, you could use it
Yeah.
on neutrals, but
Yeah, but you don't want to do that. I mean, there's better creeps for farming. You know what I mean?
okay.
If you're using it on neutrals.
Yeah, let's say. Okay, so we'll start episode 2 with item changes. What time are you free tomorrow? If you are.
Probably afternoon, I'd say.
What time your time do you think it would be?
That's a good point.
Ballpark?
Well, I can still talk for a little bit about Brood and stuff if you want.
I was just gonna do Brood now and then pick up tomorrow with item changes. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm awake and active and free to do it tomorrow when you are, because I'd like to get all of our analysis out before the patch, which drops the day after tomorrow.
Yeah, Wednesday. Wouldn't actually be surprised if they dropped it like 12 a.m., 12:01 or something like that.
I'd be surprised.
What do you think?
But
Do
maybe.
you would? Yeah, you might be right. Maybe I'm being a little bit too hopeful, but yeah.
That would be cool though. It's interesting to me. It's interesting to feel like I'm gonna play some Dota.
Yeah, that you actually want to play some Dota.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm assuming is 4 p.m. good your time? 5 p.m.
Yeah, probably.
Cool. I'll
probably be on.
Cool. I'll do my best. Yeah, you can message me on Discord or Steam. Steam's better, but Broodmother, hero reworked. Spin web no longer grants invisibility. Spin web pathing speed buff is no longer removed when taking damage. Movement speed reduced from 290 to 270. However, because you always have the buff in the web, it's not as big of a deal. And also, all agility heroes' movement speed were reduced by 5. So I don't know if that means her speed is now 265. I will check just a moment. Hold on one second. You can keep reading the changes. Oh, sorry, I'm back. Spiderling HP reduced from 450 to 250. Spiderite HP reduced from 175 to 100. Spiders now have 50% magic resist. Spiders now have 8 armor, which armor is useless. I can't wait to talk about Deso tomorrow. Spider HP regen is increased from 0.5 to 2, and spin web charges have been doubled. And so just a bit of math before you get into this. The 50 magic resistance is pretty significant because it makes it so like a Coddle Blast has to be pretty charged to kill them. Armor is not that significant in my opinion. Maybe it helps against Axe, but if Axe hits them, they're pretty much fucking dead anyway. And Spider HP regen is pretty significant because that stacks with your web. So, without further ado, the man, the mystery himself.
Also, a few things, and
if you could lean back just a little bit, yeah, because your camera's.
Yeah.
Now you're dead center. Word.
Okay.
Lay it on.
So I don't want to be a dick, but I want to say you were dead wrong on a lot of things. Firstly, a fully firstly, the 50% MR is in the plus 8 armor is also to coincide with the reduction in HP. So when you take into account the fact that they got pretty much like a 40% HP nerf, gaining 50% MR doesn't actually, when you look at it that way, do a whole lot against Coddle, right? Fully charged Coddle Blast will still kill spiders. A half-charged Coddle Blast will still do around the same amount of damage net-wise to the spiders. What this really changes is if you can't one-shot the spiders, they gain their HP back very quickly because they have less HP to fill. Does that make sense? So when your spiders are healing up, they're going to heal up to full a lot quicker. So unless you can kill the spiders, which it's about the same difficulty to kill the spiders, like actually killing the spiders is about the same difficulty unless you have pure damage, which is why you were wrong about Axe, because Axe does pure damage.
Oh, I thought his spin was physical.
That was changed a while ago. Gotta give it the times, my friend.
I'm
I'm just kidding. I mean, it is pure, but I'm just saying, like, don't worry about it. A lot of people still think it's physical, but Axe will still kill the spiders with the same ease if he actually lands a call.
It's actually harder for Coddle to kill him, I think, because his max channel without the talent is 500.
Is 500?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they have 250 HP.
Yeah, so you have to get a 100% full channel to kill them now.
Yeah, to kill them. Or
otherwise
you're gonna.
Before you didn't need
no, because intelligence gaining a spell amplification.
You're right.
Yeah. I don't know how Coddle Blast works.
It's a teeny tiny bit though. Like.
Well, for its percentage, right? So like, if he gains say 5% spell amp from 30 intelligence, right? Maybe 40. I don't know.
Level 15 int is, and I'll use that to kind of account for items. You can.
Let's just say like when he's level 7, right? When he could potentially have his nuke maxed out theoretically, he'll have like 4 to 5% spell amp. Well, 4 to 5% for 400 damage is like 10, 15, 20. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
at level 10, he has plus 28, so it'd be 53.
So you just charge it up to be like 450 or 475. It doesn't have to be fully charged, is what I'm really trying to get at. You know, it's going to be around that. But
it's like 2 point something % spell amp. It's not much. It's 25, or it's 50. He's 50 times point. Hold on a second. If he's level 10, which is really I think like a good number to base off of because that's when you got it maxed out usually. How do I clear all? Okay, so point. God damn it.
I will say a few things. Okay, so because we might be getting into the semantics of specifically Cuddle a little bit too much.
3.7%. So, and
Yeah.
then you multiply that times 5, so it does 518.55 at max level. So he's still got to get it almost to that, and it's so long channel you can move out of the way. But I just wanted to use that as an example. But
yeah, no, that's a good example though to use because that does kind of just go to show that like even with the HP nerf, because they obviously lose HP to compensate for the fact that they got tankier in their in their stats or whatever. Even with it, it still takes a very significant amount of investment to actually kill them, unless you have pure damage, like I said earlier. I will say this though, right? Because looking at the spiders in a vacuum doesn't really do the movement speed and stuff like that justice. When you're talking about the spin web no longer granting invisibility, but the trade-off there gaining permanent pathing and speed buff no matter whether or not you're taking damage, that's a good trade-off. But you lose 20 movement speed right off the start. So you get on your webs, you're about 300, 320, maybe 305 movement speed when you're first starting at level 1, and you're not invisible. You're less survivable probably than what you previously were, probably. You can free path without having to worry about taking damage, but you're slower, and the enemy can see you no matter what. So as an offlaner, at the early ranks at least, she's a lot weaker. When she's level 1, when she's level 2, even level 3, she's a lot weaker because she's slower, and you can always see her. Doesn't matter if she can walk through trees because, you know, you Quelling Blade them down or some shit like that, and block her down at level 1 with a Shadow Shaman. Usually you're going to have a tri-lane there. You know, I do predict a lot of the times the way to counter Broodmother offlane now is just to cut trees down.
She only has 200. Sorry, real quick. She only has 272 movement speed now. You only get 2 movement speed from her base agility.
Oh well, no. Throw a web down. You'll get a lot more than just that.
I know, but her base without web is 272. Before her base without web was 290.
Throw a web down. I'm curious to see what happens.
Okay.
Or do you have it?
Yeah. I mean, does she get more per web? Move priest is 40.
Yeah, as you level it up. Yeah, it's a 40% movement speed actually at level 1.
She's only 380 at level 1 in the web.
That's never mind. Okay, never mind. I take everything I just said back. That's huge because it's 380 permanently. Remember, you don't lose it on moving speed. Okay, wow. Never mind. She's still fucking crack movement speed when she's running around. Okay.
Hold on. She's 470 at level 4, and let me test it with boots.
And that's permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, with.
That's why I was saying it's a bit like a lot of people are like this is trash. She's 540 with boots, so that means she'll be.
And that's permanent. You never lose that.
She's max movement speed with
almost
any boot.
She's 10 under.
Yeah, but with any boot that's not brown boots, she's got max movement speed.
Yeah, or with bound boots, you're 10 under max, which is fine. And that's permanent. This is a big thing. I said this
boots,
like 50 times before.
Face boots, and you have max move speed.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot. That's way overkill. You could just have boots of travel.
Actually, no, you don't want to get face boots because it's a 24% increase, and you wait. Huh?
You would definitely be overcapping. You don't want to get face boots for a lot of reasons now because you don't care about free pathing anymore. So you can always path through your specters. Look, a lot of people are calling this a huge nerf. They're saying Brood got ripped, whatever. People are not focusing enough on spin web pathing and
it's so good. The pathing never being broken ever. Detection no longer counters you.
Well, no, but wait. Detection never really truly hard countered you.
But it made it so you couldn't use your web bonuses.
Well, it definitely made it so that people could see you. It doesn't necessarily make... Because maybe they pop detection, but you run into the trees really quickly. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't need to worry right? This is the big thing, is you don't need to worry about early game fucking you over if the enemy is diligent enough to buy their sentries and to do all that shit. That being said, right, it really does suck now that the enemy doesn't have to invest a bunch of gold into trying to deal with you, right? Before, Brood's damage was dealt economically, right? You pick Brood, the enemy has to buy 50,000 sentries and dust, and they might not even still kill you. Now, they don't buy any of that. They don't need to invest into that. But the trade-off is you're a hell of a lot more consistent, right? Or maybe that's not the right word. Maybe broken. Broken is the right word. You just run it. You just stand in trees, dude. They can't fuck with you. Like, that's so powerful. People aren't focusing enough on that.
Oh yeah, you
also,
can. I forgot. You can run. You can just run into the woods.
If
and
they
can't get
smack
to you.
Say they smack you. Say they start smacking you and they get you really low. Just run to the trees. What are they gonna do? Like, are they Enigma? Can they midnight pulse them down? Run to some more trees.
I think this means. I think this means that Timber's a little bit
Rat
better.
Brood. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Timber became a little bit better against Broodmother because he can kill a lot of trees.
Unless he gets he has a talent that makes so all trees on the map respawn after only 3 seconds.
I don't think he has that. I think Treant Protector has that.
No, he has that.
Are you sure?
Almost
Check the notes. Check the notes.
Uh,
Yeah, the Treant Protector, 3-second tree respawn time means trees always.
people were tweeting about. Yeah, people were tweeting about it.
People were debating you. They were debating you, dude.
Yeah.
That'd be a cute talent on Timbersaw, though. Like a catch-22 talent. Like Timbersaw's lore.
Because he needs them. It's a really good. It's really good for Treant. It means that Treant Timbersaw combos are now fucking off the hook, though.
Yeah, they used to be terrible, but yeah, they're actually kind of good now. But anyway, because we're getting sidetracked. I just wanted to say though that people are not focusing nearly enough on how broken that second line of text is. People are focusing way too much. They're saying, "Oh, you're not invisible anymore, GG," or they're also focusing on like, "Oh, like the spider change doesn't really mean much. Like it doesn't make that much of a difference." Like honestly, I've already said my 2 cents about the spider HP regen thing. Like you gain HP regen. Spiders have more HP regen base because their base HP regen is 2, and webs themselves still give HP regen. So overall, this is a buff to your spiders because they get nuked once, they don't die because they have 50% MR and 8 armor unless it's pure damage. They don't die, and they recover to full, right, very quickly because they have less HP to fill. So you can keep harassing with them more and more over time. But the big thing is the spin web pathing and movement speed buff not getting removed ever. Like you can't take that off. She's permanently max movement speed, and as long as she's on her webs, and you can't do anything about that. And that right there is the big meme. I'm calling it right now. That's the reason why Brood is fucking. If she's strong in this patch, it'll probably be because of that. I don't care about spiders.
The pathing and the fact that you never lose your buff from.
Yes. Yeah. So
if you have pathing, who gives a fuck if you're invis? You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like they can see you and all, but like you pop your BKB and you're running at them and they can't do anything about it. Before you pop BKB and they can still slow you down, so it's easy for you to get kited. But now you're on people constantly, Mac. You don't ever care because they can force staff away. Doesn't matter. I'm 540 movement speed. I'll run back up to you. Right? She was always a hero that was very greedy in the sense that she became a core in the offlane. She didn't initiate fights that well. She never really.
Yeah.
I mean, she pushed towers all right, but she wasn't like this monstrosity of a rat unless you built her like that, which was never a good style of play to begin with. What she really did well was translating her farm and EXP in lane wreckage into becoming a third core for your team. She was greedy in that respect, and she got a lot better at doing that, let me tell you. Now, with this patch. They removed one of her talents, which was +8 max webs, which does suck, but they traded that off.
Yeah, you have 2/3 of that for free.
Yeah, wait, what do you mean?
Because you have your max webs. Yeah, you have more charges. Your charges are now 8, the same as the max, and you don't have to spend a ton on it.
Well, hold up. That doesn't mean that you can have more webs placed, but that means you can store more webs.
Oh, the talent let you. No.
Yeah.
No. It says matches the amount you can place now.
Trust me, Mac. I understand this. I'm a brute player. What this means is that you can hold 8 spin web charges. Does that make sense? So. What that means is that you can place 8 on the ground and you can hold 8 in your thorax or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So you can walk around as Broodmother like in one lane, and then you can TP to another lane, and you can lay out 8 webs right then and there with no cooldown if you have saved up your webs. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, Mac, because that basically means.
You said it, but you said it was worse than before with the talent.
So before it was at level 25, you could pick up a talent called +8 max webs on the ground, and what that did was it made it so that you could have 16 webs placed. Only placed. You could only have 4 web charges still, but you could. Yeah.
Okay. I
yeah.
get you now.
This is probably better. It costs a little bit more mana because you actually have to keep.
Yeah, I
your
think
webs.
I think this is better personally, but you're the.
This is better. No, I'd be inclined to agree because this allows for a lot more flexibility in fights. You 8 webs, dude. You could and remember what the webs give you, Mac. They give fucking max movement speed. And he so Brood now has to play around her webs. She can never ever be off her webs. I don't think. But it doesn't matter because she's so insanely strong.
And now you have
webs.
so many. Now you can get 8 charges. It says it matches the amount you can place. Let me look at her. Okay, so web charges scales too, so you can't save up 8 and only have 1 point in web. I think do you always max web now?
I mean,
I'm opening the test client with Brood. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Alright, I'll put it this way. Webs was always an ability that you'd put a lot of points into early on. Didn't matter really what build you were doing, unless you were doing some weird combination of like a solo against like an Axe or a Legion commander and you were trying to kill them, then you didn't put too many points into webs. I'd say that with this change, I mean, you're probably not going to put that many points into webs any more than you used to, just because you used to pretty much always max it. Like, you're not, this doesn't change her skill build up too much probably, but it just translates into a much smoother mid to late game, where Brood actually really gets the chance to become the core that she always wanted to be. Because again, before she had kiting problems, now you can't really kite a hero with max movement speed.
Question:
like,
do the spiderlings get? I know there was a patch where the spiderlings didn't get invis from the web. Do the spiderlings get every single buff from the web that you know of?
Yes, they get free pathing. They get full movement speed. Yeah.
Fuck.
The only thing about the spiders is they don't get the invis either. But
you don't get that anyways.
Yeah. I was gonna say yeah.
So
that's the only way that spiders got nerfed. Other than that, and I guess the HP reduction. But again, I think that's a buff overall. I think making them they're the only thing is they're more vulnerable to pure damage. So
yeah.
Let me try to think about
Axes.
Axe. Yeah, but you kill Axe anyways, and the way you kill them is by either cutting the wave or you just don't level spiders and you kill them at level 6.
Yeah, you just passive.
And by the way, this buffs that style of play because sure you're not invisible, but not being invisible kind of sucks because then he can see you while you're trying to hit him, and then he can call you. But the big thing is though is that like when you hit level 6 and you all in him, he is going to be spinning and he's going to be making you slower. Now you don't get slower. Like you keep up with him. And it's the same thing with Legion Commander. It's the same thing with any other hero that you solo land against. Being invisible isn't that big of a deal when you compare it to literally just always being able to free path. And I honestly, Mac, I expect this to get nerfed, 100%.
Okay, so mute disables all passives, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a new item that's added, and again, we'll get into this more tomorrow, called Nullifier. It's 4,700 gold, and it gives you plus 65 damage, plus 5 armor, and plus 5 HP regen.
It's a sacred relic.
A sacred relic, Helm of the Iron Will.
It's kind of a weird item.
It dispels the target and mutes them for 5 seconds, and anytime they're attacked, they're rooted for 0.4 seconds. And it has a 14-second cooldown, 100 mana cost, and a 600 cast range. If you have this, you could go on an Axe with them muted, and they just die. Right?
Does muting? Yeah, it does disable their passives, right? So yeah, this is a very good item against heroes like Axe. Yeah.
But with Brood specifically, with Brood, you could even attack him with spiders and not give a fuck.
Well, yeah.
5-second mute.
The thing with this item though is it seems like a better version of Doom. Like, I don't know, like Doom is a nice ability, but it's like overkill in a lot of cases. This item has a 14-second cooldown, Mac. A 14-second
and it lasts for 5 seconds, and the root can last for up to 5.4. I thought it was just a slow, but it's 100% slow. It's a root. It's a root where you can still attack.
It's 100% slow, so I mean that's basically a root, yeah. The big thing is it doesn't say that it has an internal cooldown, so I wonder if you firefly over somebody, they're just permanently rooted.
What do you mean?
for the entire. Well, because it lasts for 0.4 seconds,
an
but it says
active.
any. What do you mean? Dispels the target and mutes them for 5 seconds. Anytime the muted target is attacked, it will be slowed by 100% for 4.4 seconds. Doesn't say it has an internal.
Dude, Brood has a 20% cooldown reduction talent now.
Yeah. Oh, she's always had that.
Yeah,
for the
but that
record.
would mean that you've got like a 13-second. You've got like a 12-second
I see what you're
cooldown
saying.
on that item. This could be.
Well, okay, yeah. So you're saying this is like the new Brood item? No, I
could
don't.
be.
I will say that that's a nice item, and it's a nice item for specifically heroes that can farm it, like Broodmother, because Brood can farm it. I still think Radiance is a really good purchase on Brood. They've made it kind of harder or different, I'll say, to like, we'll go over this tomorrow, but like MKB doesn't give 100%
Yeah.
true strike
Oh
anymore.
fuck, that is a huge. I didn't even think about her when I thought about that buff.
Yeah, I'm just saying that like it's harder to break through mischance and evasion now because you can't. There's no one item that you can get that gives you 100% true strike. The only hero in the game that gets true strike now is Ember Spirit, and that's through a talent that he gets. But like, yeah, Monkey King Bar, it's a good item now. Like, it's a good item that doesn't just counter evasion. It also gives a bunch of like pure damage on add-on. Again, we'll talk about this
Hold on,
all later.
are there
but-
any creeps that have magic immunity? I want to see if Nullifier pierces BKB.
What do you mean magic?
I mean, are there any?
Oh,
Because like golems take magic damage now. That they just take very little.
wait, I'm trying to. What are you thinking about when you're wondering about this?
I'm trying to see if Nullifier. I can nullify a Thunderhide. They have magic resist, not immunity. I'm just trying to find a creep that I can test in this client, the Nullifier on, to see if it goes through magic immunity. Are the big golems?
The big golems, no. I don't think that like they have
used
magic
to.
immunity, but or they used to. Yeah, sorry. Wait, I'm curious as to why you're thinking about this though.
Because if the Nullifier pierces BKB, then that means that Brood can kill anyone at any time, because you're rooted for 5 seconds, and you just die. Like, she pops her ult, and then jumps on you with that, and you die. Anytime mutes him for 5 seconds, anytime the muted target is attacked, it'd be slowed by 100%. It's a mute and a root. It's specifically the anti-axe or the anti-centaur or whatever.
It's a lot of heroes that it fucks over. Mutes are very powerful,
It's
dude.
crazy underrated. But
Yeah.
back to Brood, what do you think about, as a rat player myself, as we all know, what do you think about the overall changes for the health, trading health for all of that armor and regen, or for armor, a little bit of regen, and magic resist?
So I did go over this. I think it's a buff overall because, again, take into account what webs give. Webs
I
give
mean, are
a
there
bunch of
specific instances you're thinking of? Like I brought up Coddle, but I'm like common situations where this could prove to be better or worse.
Okay. I'll give you a common situation. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, you're laning against like an Ember Spirit, right? Ember early game he uses like his Flame Guard, or Jug. Jug's a great example. Jug will try to spin on your spiders and will try to kill them, right? This doesn't necessarily make them a whole lot more tanky against Jug, although it makes it so that they can just run away. Yeah, you can now just run away, but they'll still take a little bit of damage, right? The buff that this applies to heroes, versus heroes like Jug, is, in addition to just being able to run away now, because you can do it very quickly, you lose some HP, but the HP that you lose is mitigated by the magic damage, by the magic resistance that your spiders have, and so they lose some HP. They have a smaller HP pool that's offset by the fact that they now have magic resistance. They take less overall damage because of the magic resistance, and now the HP that you're gaining back fills up your HP pool quicker because you have less of it as your max HP. So you can go back in knowing that your spiders won't die and feed a bunch of gold quicker. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And
Brood will be a broken hero this patch at the start, and if you want free MMR, I think you should pick her.
I mean,
I'm not joking.
Brood was my main hero back in Dota 1 because I played all pick easy mode, and I think specifically in that mode this hero is going to be even better. Do you get the 75 insatiable hell? I'm thinking if you get the spider damage and the spider health talent and you go AC and pipe on this hero, you are unstoppable, because you basically have magic immune spiders that have 600 health or 450 health for the small ones that have 2 regen plus your web regen. So that's a grand total of 11. They have 11 regen. They have AC armor and AC attack damage, and they have 350 health, or 600 health. So 600 health, 11 regen, and the bonus attack speed, and they have the bonus attack damage. I feel like maybe Vlad's comes back on this hero to a certain extent. I feel like you can do, because of this change, I feel like you can play the hero to the same level of impact and to the same level of this is how a professional player plays. I think it's a legitimate and respectable style to play the hero centered around the spiders in a lot more situations than it was before, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't disagree. It's no doubt that the spiders got at least a small buff. I'd say a pretty marginal one, but if I end up being wrong about how strong free pathing is, which I don't think I am, but even if I am, it's no doubt that the spiders at least got a very like a marginal buff with their overall survivability, especially with the spiderling talents. But even without those talents, just because of, like I said earlier, because they can take a little bit more punishment than before overall. But especially when you take some punishment, but you trade that out very quickly. So you like take the punishment, you back off, and then you regen up. They regen quicker because there's less to regen for them to get back to full capacity. Their effective HP has gone up.
I also think if you're playing the old school.
Yeah, I'm going to.
All right, I'll let you go. I think you can now drop. I don't think you have to put as many points into spin web anymore if you don't want to either. Like if you want to, depending on the way your lane works, you might be okay with 2 or 3 just because you have double the number of webs.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sorry. I do live with my parents now, so
I know.
that's my mom telling me. Yeah.
I'll let you go, man. I appreciate the input and all of this. We'll continue tomorrow afternoon. And if I can get this to successfully load into DaVinci Resolve, I'm going to cut out your spiel on Broodmother, and if the file size is reasonable, I'll email you and we can talk about me getting it to you so you can put it on your channel. Otherwise, I'll just upload it. Either way, it's going to go into the Pub Trash playlist.
Sweet, dude.
So,
I look forward to it.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I need to do a little bit of work for my job, and I'm debating staying up all night. I woke up like at sunset today, so bear with me for a minute, and I might stream some Dota myself. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for the support. I will be back potentially in a few minutes, really leaning that away. And catch us tomorrow afternoon for part 2 of the Pub Trash overview of this patch. And until someone else donates a shit ton of money, we are sponsored by Carbon Bond. And if someone else donates a shit ton of money, then we'll be sponsored by Carbon Bond and them. So, good night, y'all. Thank you for watching.
Alright, man. I'll catch you later.
Peace.